All right, welcome back everybody to the stream. I've just had an apple, a banana, a toilet break, all of these things, and we are good to go. Tabben and Lukas will be up next. And before we get into this, I want to take a quick look at the brackets. So if you are yet to see some of the games that are going to be going up on YouTube, or if you want to catch them by using the Twitch VODs, and you don't want to be spoiled, probably best to look away now. But let's take a look at the screen here, and we will show you the brackets of the tournament so far. The previous game was Diroga versus Soldier, and let's take a look at the brackets. We can see here that Diroga, the game we just saw, quick 4-0 from Diroga. Really nice showing from him. But Soldier, strong performance throughout the tournament, but he now will drop down. He can still qualify, but he has to... What match was he? Let's take a look. Number 57 there, right? So if we scroll down, what we've got next is Tabben vs Lukas here. And, he's... Okay, I think I've got this wrong. Yeah, that's 57. I thought for some reason that Soldier would have to play against either Tabben or Lukas, but this is actually match 59. Soldier will actually drop down to here and has to go through either Hazza or GIB the Dirty. But I think Hazza going to comfortably beat Gib. Gib has had a good showing throughout the tournament, but Hazza just top quality player, really, really strong, and he could have qualified through the winners bracket if it wasn't for meeting Maito quite early on there, who I'm actually on Discord with right now. So the fact that Hazza was defeated by you means that he's going to have to play against Soldier. So that's going to be a really interesting match. Although Gib could pull out a miracle, we'll have to watch that. But Soldier now going to have a hard time. Another big match that he'll have to go through to qualify. We'll have to watch out for what he does. But today, Lukas versus Tabben. Oh, that wasn't finished. Tabben versus Lukas here. Will play now. That's what we're about to watch. And then the winner goes against King of Osmane or Jeramuno, which we'll be watching. We'll be casting that tomorrow. And then, the winner of these two then has to go through the loser of match 59, which will be Kanisi here. So that also going to be a really interesting match. These two, I think, both very competent, very capable of getting to the LAN. And we're going to see them play today. Now, in fact. But we'll then have to go through Kanisi after. So the bracket's looking sort of really, really stacked. But yes, we're now finished here. Maito.
Hello.
These are some brackets. These are some games. Firstly, what did you think of Diroga's performance there?
I sadly overslept, and I only saw the last 5 minutes of the last game, so I can't say specifically, but 4-0 is pretty dominant, so
yeah, that's really nice showing from Diroga. You say you missed the first couple of games. Those were the better ones, I think. It looked very, very close in game one when Germany was being played by Soldier, his sort of best civ against actually China, one of your best civs. But yeah, there was a moment where Diroga almost resigned, he said, and then the second game was very, very close. But then it looks like Diroga picked up the final two. So he's a contender for the LAN to make it all the way. Do you think he can? Do you think he's a scary opponent? Do you think that he'll get to the finals or near the finals or something?
I think he can. It's kind of hard to say right now because he's been a bit more inconsistent lately, I think. And I honestly haven't really played all that much with him, so I'm really not sure, but I think he's definitely capable.
Okay. That'll be a lot of fun. But yes, we're in the lobby. Tabben asking if the casters are ready. We are ready. And it looks like we've found a matchup for game number 1. Tabben looking to play French. No, Lukas does not like France versus Japan. He doesn't want to play that. So instead we'll offer the Sioux. Let's see if Tabben accepts the Sioux. He's happy to play France versus the Sioux. I am joined by Maito. He's watching over screen share. And these three players were all from, including me, all from Europe, and that will keep the lag down. But this is not Oh, this is the correct map, right? Okay, so pardon me, I thought the first map was Kamchatka, but actually, let's bring up that map pool. It will be a slightly different map pool because this is a best of 5, not a best of 7. The only time we'll see best of 7s are for the qualification. And you can see here that Florida is the first map simply because Pampas Sierras was vetoed. But yes, let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a best of 5 series between Lukas L99 and Tabben, 2 very, very strong players, and I think both of them looking to qualify for the LAN. This will be, I think, one of the harder games to get there, sort of meeting sort of early almost. The first map will be Florida, and the civilizations will be the Sioux versus the French. This is the lower bracket, round 4. The loser will be eliminated. Let's start with Tabben. Here he is in the north of the map in the color blue, playing as the French there. It is a 100 wood and coin start. But that's fine, starting with the market there. Perhaps he'll pick up that coin and buy some wood and go for a trading post or something like that. Or maybe just get his hunting dogs in. Always really helpful to start with the market there. 35 food. He's going to pick that up right away. Not quite as good, I think, as Lucas's treasure here. He got a 30 coin treasure, and with the same crates, could very easily get hunting dogs there. Coin treasure start going to make that sort of quite easy to do.
It looks like he's not actually going for hunting dogs, though. He's chopping a bit of wood, so maybe going to be going for a trading post at some point.
Yeah.
Just going to chop the 100 wood for that.
Perhaps he's got something fortress-orientated in mind and just wants to get the trading post. And so does Tabben there. And both of them going to do that. The market, basically starting with coin means you start with wood. It makes it so much easier. But yes, both players going to chop wood now to get that house down. And then switch back to food so we can get up to the colonial age sort of ASAP here. Let's turn Control-Shift-F on. The Sioux Explorer has not made sort of all much ground at the moment, just doing sort of concentric circles around his base here. 60 food, not super interested in that. I think looking to find, quite a strong guardian to use his nature friendship ability on. Let's take a look around the map and see if there are any stronger guardians. There's a pirate, often spawning, and there is one up here in the top of the map there. Perhaps looking for a treasure like that, you could really be good to get such a strong unit. But, because he's looking, he's not going to find any good treasures. Yeah, just going to go back for this 100 food and take that down. Perhaps convert one of these guardians. Doesn't look like he's going to do that. Just going to save the nature friendship ability. It takes so long to recharge, right?
It's just on cooldown.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
It's a 60-second cooldown, so...
Oh, he got an alligator earlier, I see.
Yeah, it takes quite a while to come back up. But the blowgunners are not super effective units in melee, so that'll be just fine for him, though he'll take quite a bit of damage. Yeah, it looks like he did actually opt to go for hunting dogs and a couple of TPs instead of going for a trading post. Just allow him to be more active on the map in the early game then. Yeah. So about these players, I know that apparently, according to Lukas, they've played a lot in the past. Like over the last year or so, like even back when Tabben wasn't even like a PR35 player, back when he was just like a good old captain. They used to play a lot, so I know Lukas was saying he's pretty sad about them having to play in the tournament, but as a result, could be an interesting set of games, I think, with them having played so much in the past. Maybe we'll see some adaptations to stuff or some ways to like try and throw off their opponent.
Yeah, perhaps, they're going to know each other's styles very well, and they're going to know how they react, just having played so much against each other and knowing each other quite well. Looks like Lukas did manage to get that pirate in the end, that swashbuckler, chasing down the native scout here in France. Looks like he's going to lose that native scout. Rest in pieces. But both players now up to the next stage. We've got the Quartermaster coming in for Tabben and the Chief, which gives 400 wood for Lukas as well. Both players going up with the same politician there. Tabben going to pick himself up 40 wood. But let's switch on over to shipments sent. 3 villagers from both players. And we can take a look at their decks as well here. Tabben looking to play land. Doesn't seem to be any water capabilities at all in here. No extra warships or upgrades or anything like that. fully intending to stay land. The Sioux, looks like we're going to see the exact same thing from him as well. So it looks like perhaps they've agreed to have a land match or something like that, or perhaps neither of them want to go on the water.
Yeah, well, neither of these civs are really known for water anyway, right?
Yep.
Neither of them have that schooner shipment. Sioux doesn't really have the greatest navy in the world, although they do have water dance, I believe. No, they don't have water dance. So Sioux doesn't really want to be fighting water at all, and France is pretty alright to ignore it as well, so it just kind of makes sense in that regard, I guess. But yeah, pretty standard stuff so far from both players. Forwarded wood going to be coming up for Lukas here. Probably just going to be for a stable, maybe even a second trading post, or some additional TPs. So he's still chopping a lot of wood at the moment. But yeah, there's the stable going down there.
And a barracks for Tabben here. Going to start with musketeers by the looks of it, just to help repel the raids. Lukas now coming through with the tomahawk, which by the looks of it he's found. Looks like France does have a native scout. He's perhaps gotten a second one from a treasure, sort of by the looks of it, yeah. But Scout is going to find the barracks, but he may be able to take that tomahawk down there. No, it is going to sort of get away, but at least he knows there is a sort of barracks on the floor here. Lukas going to start with 5 villages, and they're getting sort of blocked by the gold mine at least. Look what he's done with his teepees here, like a really nice sort of ring around that. He's not going to get any hunting bonus, though, over here, unless he can really bring those herds closer to the TC, which is where they need to be anyway, underneath the town center for protection, but also those teepees there. At least this could be quite helpful for defending against any sort of incoming pressure later on.
Yeah,
but that is what he's decided to do.
I think that's the more important benefit of that placement. Like, he'll definitely be able to bring that hunt in and get that a little bit of that bonus. Maybe not from all of the TPs, but from a good number of them anyway. But yeah, the main thing is that those TPs are positioned in a way that they're going to like be a little bit of a wall to his opponent. He'll be able to stand behind them, get the HP bonus from that, and defend any timings or anything pretty easily. And yeah, Tabben probably not going to be going for a timing, though. Just looking at his build orders so far. Just be going for the standard sort of musket semi against Sioux, where you just keep all your villagers very safe, get up to fortress, then start going for some like skirm goon type stuff. And we've actually seen Tabben play this matchup before, but there's a raid coming and not going to get anything. We've seen Tabben play this matchup before in one of the Escape Show matches against Raphael. And he actually beat Raphael in that matchup, doing the same sort of thing that he did here, so...
700 gold coming out. For both players.
Yep, so both just going to be aging up. I guess one of the interesting things to look at for will be whether Lukas tries to go for a fast age up, or if he's going to be a bit greedier and go for the Wise Woman for those 12 bison and the hunting upgrades. And I feel like, having played against Lukas a little bit recently, I feel like he'll go for the bison, which is going to work just fine against what Tabben's doing at the moment, it being pretty slow, I think.
Yeah. Tabben going to go up with the Exile Prince there. We'll see what Lukas has in mind. Does find that scout with his bow riders, but neither player looking to or has really done anything or committed to anything in the colonial age. Both people want to get up to the fortress age, and this seems quite reminiscent of how Tabben played the previous matchup against Lord Raphael. Lukas not going to be up for some time, though. He's not got quite all the resources here. He's committed to a few extra bow riders by the looks of it, staying perhaps a little bit longer in age 2. Is going to pick up that explorer here, and perhaps he's going to come in. And there's only a few musketeers. Maybe he can kill them off before they can be upgraded or be complemented with other units. Perhaps villagers going into the TC.
Yeah, it's a little bit unusual, but I think with Minutemen and with CDB being so sort of difficult to kill, he'll be okay here. But the explorer just going to get in there, try to get the snare in.
Yeah,
there's the Minutemen.
Minutemen being called.
I don't know that this push is really going to accomplish all that much. It looks like he's just going to be forced to run on out of there. Yeah. And, I mean, he forced the Minutemen call, but that's kind of fine for Tabben anyway. So, I guess he got some idle time done too while that was going on. So it's not the worst trade in the world. It was probably just mostly even, having forced the Minutemen, killed a few muskets, and then forced all the idle time. But it definitely has told Tabben that he's not started aging just yet. And especially, it looks like he is actually going for that slow age up. So there's going to be a big window potentially for Tabben to push with maybe a second fortress shipment in a moment and try to get some damage done.
Yeah. He's going to have a lot longer of a time to do damage before Lukas can get up to the next stage there. He's just, sort of clicked up with the Wise Woman, going to get some bisons and extra hunting. And with all these teepees, that's going to be a really solid sort of extra boost. He's going to have a lot of extra food coming in. But Lukas, or Tabben rather, 5 goons have popped. I think he's just waiting on his next shipment now. Then perhaps come across the map. I wonder if he'll send... Well, surely not falconets. There's a lot of bow riders here.
Yeah, probably going to be skirmishers or something. But yeah, it looks like with him waiting so long, he might sort of miss the window. Like, I think he just sent that shipment a few seconds ago, so it's going to be arriving maybe in 20 or 30 seconds from now. And that's just going to be too late. Lukas will be up. He'll have his own shipments on the way. He'll have Wakinas in queue, possible elite bow riders in queue. And I think he'll be just fine, actually.
Yeah. Fire pit has been constructed, though. That is ready. 8 skirmishers coming in. And maybe this is now go time with the second shipment. Bit of a timing here. Maybe he wants to walk out across the map with it. Is he getting ready to just free this villager firstly? There's a settler treasure just there. Perhaps he wants to go for that real quick whilst he's nearby or something. But Tabben just, either hasn't made up his mind or is being very passive for some reason. Doesn't want to get out on the map and use his army. But the bow riders coming in here. The skirmishers should be enough to repel them away. But with the explorer, the war chief mixed in very fast. Going to be able to move quite quickly. But Lukas, now elite bow riders coming in. Going to get that upgrade. And, the bison here, I think he's just going to, be absolutely fine. I don't think Lukas minds too much, right? He's just sort of using his strong eco. Like, the more time, the better for him.
Yeah, it seems like Tabben has sort of given Lukas a lot of respect early on here. It looks like he's sort of moving across the map now, but before that, just wanted to defend his resources, despite how slow Sioux is being. And yeah, it's a little bit strange, but he might still have a little bit of a chance here. I mean, Sioux's unit composition is not very good at the moment against this big skirmisher mass that Tabben has. So he might be able to get in here and still do something, but we'll see if he decides to do that. So far, he's just content to play this pretty slowly. But
look at this. The bow riders, they're marching across the map whilst the French army is really, really far forward here. And this is probably why Tabben was back for so long. He's now going to have all these villagers threatened. Thankfully, CDBs, though, they have lots of ranged resist, and Greatcoats is in as well. They are able to tank quite a lot, but they've only just started to move. He's pushing now on the front with skirmishers and dragoons, but yeah, big raid, or a few villages going down. Going to be really, really nice for the Sioux.
He's lost a couple vills. He's lost a couple vills himself as well on the frontier, not paying close enough attention while the raid was going on. So he's got to be feeling okay about the trade overall, probably. Cav combat coming in for Lukas.
Yeah.
It's pretty greedy, to be honest.
It does feel very early, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's giving Tabben sort of more time to really get something done with this mass of skirmishers while he's got that advantage. But again, he's just giving so much respect to the Sioux player and not going to be pushing in very hard or anything. Doesn't want to get caught. And as a result, going to lose some units here. Get some idle time forced again.
Coming back in now. Let's see if he can get some more villager kills. Both players just on opposite sides of the map, but, Green has much more maneuverability, and I think Tabben just doesn't want to go home, because if it'd be... Oh, and another villager going down, so this is quite good for him. And cavalry combat of his own coming in as well. He feels like he's got a big enough mass of goons to justify it, and of course it's always nice just to get it under your belt going forward. Both players have done that. No fights being forced, just poking in, trying to kill villagers, and both players being quite successful at it. But,
yeah, it looks like Lucas might just be trying to avoid fighting as much as possible until he can get the dog soldier big button later on. He's got the mobility advantage, so he can kind of just run around. Looks like he is going to be forcing the dragoons to go on home.
Cavalry hit points coming in. Yeah, he's gearing up for a very big timing. This is a nice pickup. Couple of skirms and a dragoon there. He's going to pick them all off with his units, and then with the superior speed of the his name's Durden Sakbaret. I'm not sure what that means, but it's...
He might get cut off here, though.
Yeah. And these dragoons have cav combat, so they are able to do lots of damage. And dragoons versus bow riders, well, dragoons are just better. They have solid damage, and the bow riders have no range resist. So for as far as ranged cavalry goes, the dragoons are going to perform better. They're losing a lot of bow riders, but that big button timing is coming up. It's nearly at 15 minutes, and look how on point Lukas is. He's got all that food, and he's probably researching it now, or about to research it. Do you know, does it affect the number of dog soldiers you get when it arrives, or when you click the button?
It's when it arrives.
So in theory, you could time it perfectly to arrive at like 15 minutes and 1 second.
Well, it's actually 14 minutes that it's 5 dog soldiers, not 15. It's like slightly before the time you would actually think it is. It kind of like rounds up, I guess.
Yeah.
So he could have called it already, but yeah, just gonna wait a little bit longer.
It is now coming
until he gets
here.
the food.
14.
Yeah, and this could be a strong timing, but at this point, I don't know if it's strong enough, to be honest. Tabben's military is looking pretty solid as well, and I don't know if the dog soldiers are going to be enough hand cavalry on their own to really deal with this. We'll see, though. I mean, they do have 2 cards on them.
Yeah, cavalry hit points and cavalry attack. But skirmisher attack coming in as well. Now, this isn't quite as good as infantry combat, but at least they get 15% extra attack, but they don't get the hit points as well. France just don't have that card. One of their, I think, slight disadvantages. But you're very strong French units here, and those dog soldiers, yes, they're threatening, but he's got plenty of dragoons. Lots and lots of dragoons here.
Yeah, he's got Lukas has another card on the way. It looks like he's just waiting for that. I wonder if that's going to be cav attack. Yeah, there we go.
Cav attack
so now
as well.
With the 3 cards on these dog soldiers and the bow riders, he's going to be trying to force a fight here. But
he's got very powerful cav.
I'm not sure if it's going to work for him. Just looking at Tabben's army, it looks pretty formidable here.
Yeah, but both players, it feels like going for that style where you don't take fights, you just sort of mass up, get the cards in, and get to the point where you've got enough army to get the cards, and then sort of go in. Losing a few bow riders here, trying to... but the dog soldiers now coming in. Looks like they're going to find the skirmishers. There are a lot of dragoons, though, in the back. But remember, these dogs have +3 cards on top of them. +12s coming up everywhere. Those are just slicing through the skirms, but the dragoons, they are eventually getting rid of them. The bow riders in the back here doing a ton of damage as well. The dog soldier line has now gone down, and it will be quite an even fight. Let's switch over to military units and take a look. It's very even skirm counts, actually, but there are more dragoons in there.
Yeah, it looks like Lukas is going to be getting the better end of this fight, just barely. And that could potentially mean that the resources are going to be under threat. There's a raid going on as well, it looks like, on the other side with some axe riders. So, yeah, a lot of CDB going down behind this, and it looks like this is just... I guess we underestimated the strength of the dog soldier timing, especially with those 3 cards. It's just one of the reasons that Sioux is so good right now, is when you do get to that timing, it's just really hard to lose a fight. And, yeah, so managing to do that, now he's got a lot of pressure potentially on France's natural resources. Looks like he's not going to push it right away. But, yeah, France has got to be pretty unhappy about that for sure.
Yeah, and he can just commit to, like, pure cav now. With 3 cards, his axe riders and bow riders will just be absolutely exceptional here. And that just looks like a fight he can't win. There's so many skirms and axe riders here. This blue skirm's going to get cleaned up. And the dragoons not going to be able to contest it too much, especially with all these Wakina in the back, which are focusing them down here. Cuirochet's getting involved as well. Do go down. These villagers do have great coats.
The bills on the gold mine are pretty exposed. They do have great coats, but I don't think that's going to be enough on its own to really help out these Dragoons in the fight, and he doesn't really want to be fighting with them, so it's going to be GG, actually.
Yeah, it looks like
And
Lukas picks up the very first game here. Both, very sort of, lol, I didn't notice the raid. Yeah, that's not ideal. Perhaps, I don't know how much of a factor it was in restarting the game. Okay, sure. Yeah, what am I saying? Very passive, right? Get all 3 cards, go for that Dog Soldier timing. Worked out very, very well.
yeah, it felt like Tabben had a lot of opportunities to maybe push in and do some damage and force a reaction out of Sioux, but just gave him so much respect. It felt like didn't push in, even though he saw the bow riders were on the other side of the map. And just kind of let Sioux do their thing. And when you let Sioux do their thing, then that timing is really, really hard to beat.
Yeah, it did seem like, if we take a look at the military unit population here, that in that early game, after he hit Fortress, he got a few units in, he got his 5 Dragoon shipment, just sort of sat in his base and didn't really even go anywhere until he got his 8 skirms, that second shipment here after the 5 Dragoons. But even then, just sort of sat around that villager treasure and didn't really go across the map. And, aging with the Wise Woman and all these TPs, it worked out really well for the Sioux. France perhaps didn't do enough, and then the Sioux timing comes in, which you have to be so afraid of and really have a game plan for. Got the better of him, and Lukas takes out Tabben in the first game there. Let's head on out into the lobby and see what game number 2 has in store for us. But a very nice first game from Lukas, getting that first point on the board as the Sioux. He can no longer play the Sioux and now must pick first on Kamchatka.
Yep. For the screen share, could you maybe lower the quality a bit? That might help with it. It's actually like super grainy right now. I think if you lower the quality, it might be a bit more consistent though.
Well, of the game, yeah, I can do that.
No, I mean in Discord for the screen share.
Can you do that? Is that a thing?
Yeah, go up with your mouse. More screen share options on the left.
Oh, this is new. I didn't.
No. Go down. It's on. Yeah, there, right. No, on the left side. On the left side. Start an interjection.
We'll get there. There.
No. You had the right spot. No, on the left. I said.
Oh wow. Yeah.
There we go. Just change it to stream the window AoE3, and yeah, there's the quality at the top. You can try that.
Oh wow, you can stream in 1080 if you have Discord Nitro. I might have to get Discord Nitro. That's insane. That could be the solution. Okay, we're lowering the quality. Okay, let's do that. We'll try this.
Yeah, hopefully that's a bit better.
Hopefully it will look better. Okay.
Before the game starts, I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick. But, well, you can start and do the introductions and stuff, and I'll be back shortly.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 2 in a best of 5 series between Tabben and Lukas. The winner will progress onwards and have the opportunity to play against Hazza in the qualification match. Well, firstly, before that, though, they'll have to play against either King of Osman or Jeramuno, but both players very, very strong, and I think looking to get to that final game versus Hazza. Tabben off to a very, very good start. Lukas off to a very, very good start. We can see he won the previous game there, but here he is on the left-hand side of the map in the color green, playing as the Chinese here. He had to pick first and has selected China, and in response to that, his opponent Tabben going with India here. Looks like both monks, one actually going to stay for 50 wood there, whilst the other sort of gets in to try and look for the goats there. China sent the disciple that they start with. Looks like he'll get the bottom 2 goats here, whilst India gets the top 2. And 50 wood going to be really, really nice. Help him queue up villagers and all that good stuff for India. It's essentially a food treasure. Being very careful with these elephants. And another 50 wood treasure. That's really nice. Just keeping the goats sort of nearby so they can't be converted. But China, looks like what they've done is gone for a trading post. They start with their 300 wood. Fixed crate start. Going to grab that. And by the looks of it, are chopping for an extra 100 wood to get their village down. And this is quite nice from Tabben. He doesn't want his opponent to have those wood treasures, so has gone for them himself very quickly. 250 wood treasures there. Going to pick up the second. Absolutely ideal. Switch on over to shipments sent, and when their shipments come in, we can take a look at their decks and see if there's anything unusual. But both explorers sort of on opposite sides of the map here is going to find a goat, and indeed another wood treasure, 40 wood here. Back to economic units, we can keep an eye on how many goats. 4 each. Very, very even. Mind you, China start with 1, I think. Did he spot this? Yeah, there's a 75 food treasure there that he can go for, but more interested in the 90 wood, and fair enough. Lots of really strong treasures on his side of the map there, and can go back for that food treasure. India doesn't know it exists, and his monks just not in a position to take that, but he's had quite a strong age 1, 250 wood treasures in a row. So India off to a nice start, but China, 90 wood and 75 food. Really, really strong. And now going to even the goats out with that final pick, although there is one here for him as well.
Yeah, so it looks like a pretty even start so far. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
That's the question I usually ask you.
Well, yeah, now I want to hear what you think.
What do I think? Well, China, they have quite a formidable, quite a scary fast fortress. And I think India don't really, want the game to go to the fortress age. They sort of prefer staying in the colonial a bit longer. They don't want to go up and have to upgrade all their units and things like this. So I think China will be looking to get up to the fortress age, and India, we can already see, putting down a mid-map aggro fort, and to make it as difficult and as hard for China as possible. I think India wants to just be aggressive, walk in there with some units, shoot at the villages, perhaps stop the wonder, not their age up to the fortress age wonder from having so many vills, so they get up more slowly. Just make China pay for that age up as much as possible, and then probably just play the rest of the game out sort of in age 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of a weird matchup in that sense. Like, India is one of the strongest civs in the colonial age, and then they're not bad in fortress and industrial, but they take a lot longer to get there and a lot longer to get their units and their upgrades and everything going. Whereas China is the weakest, arguably the weakest civ in the colonial age, and also maybe one of the strongest in fortress and industrial. So, yeah, as you said, it's going to be on India to try and make him pay for that age up as much as possible, and try to really sort of mitigate the advantage that China will have in the later stages of the game there. Maybe try to force him to stay in colonial a little bit longer, like make some units or ship some unit shipments. And then either follow up himself or else just continue playing colonial and try to punish him that way. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. For the moment, that forward aggro fort sort of indicating that he has some intentions of at least doing a timing, if not doing something pretty aggressive. But he's built a trading post in transition. Does he have a market or anything as well? No, so no market. So he is actually going to be shipping units first, it looks like. He's potentially going to be going for a sea... No, actually, never mind. It's the consulate going down. So going to be 300 export and then 5 sepoy maybe, which can be a pretty hard timing for China to hold, actually.
Gonna see the redcoats and 5 sepoy pushing there, lots of musketeer style units.
Yep, and with that 10%
additional
hit points bonus from the British consulate there. Yeah, it's quite a scary timing for sure.
There it is, diplomatic
exactly
intrigue.
What Tabben's doing.
Yeah, he's gathering a lot of wood.
I mean, sorry,
here.
not Tabben. I meant Lukas. Yeah, he's chopping a lot of wood. Going to be dropping down some walls now. So he's sort of anticipating this timing a little bit, and decides to place it somewhere else. I guess just gonna have to wait and see what that first card is.
What do you think he's got in mind then? He's just sort of staying lots of extra villages there. I guess he just wanted to gather a bit of extra wood for... Okay, that makes a lot of sense. For the walls. That's why he was gathering so much wood. And now he's got 48 left, and it looks like that should be enough to finish up his walls. Okay, so it makes sense.
He's also dropped down a second village. in transition here, which might slow down his fortress a little bit, but it will mean that he'll have population available to ship something like 8 Chukodu to maybe defend against this big heavy infantry timing push. As well as have the population space still to train villagers in addition to that, and also get the Summer Palace banner army. I don't know if that wall is complete, though, on the front there, next to the Summer Palace. There seems to be, like, on the left side, seems to be a little bit of a gap. Maybe? Like, in between that wall and the Summer Palace. Does it look like there's a gap there? It kind of looks like there might be.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to tell, though, because sometimes this doesn't behave quite the way you would expect. So if that is a gap, this could be a little bit harder for Lukas than he really wants. Yeah, we'll see, though. Looks like Tabben's going to be pushing onto the top side, not going to be trying to push straight through there, just going to siege it down. And Lukas actually went to 700 wood next, so not going to have anything to defend that. The wall's only going to buy him a couple of seconds, which honestly is not enough. They're going to be through the wall now. The Wonder has only just gone down. Looks like it's going to be the Porcelain Tower, so there's not going to be skirmishers or anything popping out. He's got a Consec or something going down in the back, but I think it might get denied, potentially, if it gets spotted, which it's pretty likely to. But looks like Tabben might just go for the village. Is going to spot that with
canoe.
Okay.
And calling minute, and a big batch from the Summer Palace as well. Really nice timing from everything there, all popping at the same moment here. But that monk really causing some issues for the Chokanu with its small amount of area damage. Those units dispatched quite quickly. Perhaps we'll see a gate and he'll escape through the back there. He does have the wood for that. The monk is in combat now, though.
Looks like he's not doing that at the moment, but there's also villagers on the Wonder here. He's going to have to run. If he doesn't want to lose them in a moment here, but not doing that just yet, now moving them. He's going to lose maybe 2 vills here. Yeah, they're both going to go down there. And, yeah, this is looking like a rough start to the game for Lukas for sure, with losing all those units for free, all this idle time, his Asia being delayed. Did that consult go up? It didn't, right? Or did it? Okay, it did go up, so he will have access to at least the redcoats when he gets up. Which is good, because losing these villages in transition here might mean that he's popped. And intervention doesn't cost population until it actually arrives, so you can actually send it, unlike some of the other shipments. So that's going to be potentially important here.
And the monk does get back up here. So, and swiftly going to go back down. 600 coin being followed up by Tabben, just to keep the pressure up, keep units in production. A lot of villagers on coin for him at the moment. 20 villagers. I'm sure he'll switch some over to food. But he's in a really nice spot here. Streaming Sepoy into the base with, of course, the British consulate for 10 extra % hit points. Those Chokanu trying their best to do some damage and buy as much time and get as much value as they can. But perhaps going up with the Porcelain Tower. Maybe second batch of Minutemen coming out. It's a very strong building. Currently assigned to export.
That's actually the rainbow sort of one. It gives you a trickle of all of them. It only shows export, but he is actually getting food, wood, and gold from it, and even experience right now. But yeah, it's probably not where he would like it ideally, unless maybe he's wanting to get the red coats at some point, but I don't think he's going to have the export for that anytime soon.
But intervention arrives, and these musketeers very, very strong. He has the British consulate of his own, and of course the sentries, and with the vills in the TC, is able to do some damage, but another batch of Sepoy comes streaming in.
The problem is that he's just not got the population space for another shipment after this, so even though he's going to sort of hold, it's going to be a while before he can have something else popping. There is Summer Palace popping. Does he have a hidden village up on the top side? Is that what that is?
He's got a village in construction here, and yeah, a village and a war academy going down quite far out. He's got the population he needs now. But he's paying through the nose for it, taking a lot of damage here. Pikemen are going to clean this up, though, especially with the TC cover, and are able to plug the hole in the wall. But I think India are going to be quite pleased with the damage they've done. And 40 villages to 26 here. India probably in a very, very nice spot. But China now up to the Fortress Age. That's where he wants to be, but he paid big time for it, both in terms of units, villages, all of these things.
Yep, I think India has sort of accomplished what they wanted to accomplish with that push, and now he's going to be following up to the Fortress Age himself. And meanwhile, China's not going to really have much of an opportunity to punish this. With all that idle time done, he hasn't been trading units. His redcoats got killed off. He's got to wait for another shipment if he wants to even think about pushing. Doesn't have any market upgrades yet. It's just looking like a really, really rough situation for him at the moment. That being said, though, he is alive, and he is in the Fortress Age.
Yeah.
So, like, sometimes the China army can be surprising, and it is going to be still a long time, even though Lukas can't really push out right now. It's still going to be a long time before Tabben is up and has shipments ready and has, like, those veteran upgrades on those Gurkhas and those sepoys and everything in. So there might still be a small window, maybe at the sort of like end of this age up, and maybe a few seconds afterwards, where Lukas gets another shipment in and has like a slight advantage. But we'll see. He might not have the confidence to really push out. We'll see what he does when he sees that age up. Likely he's still going to be waiting for that shipment. There we go. Going to delete the wall and go through there. Going to try to at least poke out and see what's going on, but this is a really underwhelming unit mass, especially when there could potentially be Urumi on the way from that Agrifort.
Yeah. His opponent's just clicked up here. And could, well, it's something he could send as the first shipment. 7 Urumi is in deck there. Having a few extra units now. This War Academy is a bit awkward out on the side, but at least it is alive. 11 Changdao. Okay, so now looking a lot more respectable. Has good anti-cavalry, and the ArqueBusier should be able to push out with confidence.
Yeah, but it looks like he's not got the confidence actually to push out. Going to be staying at home for a bit longer actually, which is going to be totally fine for India. But he's training Forbidden Army now, so he's going to have that cavalry coming in, which are going to help a lot against potentially Urumi and that, and even just like snaring the army. And Tabben looks like he's going to be going for sort of that Sepoy Urumi composition that we see a lot from India nowadays, which can be really difficult to micro against, and if you make a mistake, it can be over pretty quickly.
2 Mahout Lancers, so not Urumi, okay. But still quite a strong shipment there that costs to send.
Yeah, for sure.
The Cav coming around the back here. They're not going to find any villagers just yet, and they've been spotted here. Let's hope they don't get caught for Lukas's sake. Not quite. That looks like they will get away for free. Oh! No, taking a few shots, but the elephant's never actually landing an attack.
The important thing here with this raid is that Lukas is going to spot the unit composition. He spotted all the Sepoy, he spotted the Mahout Lancers, and seeing all those units, he knows that Tabben isn't trying to go for the Industrial Age or anything like that. And he can sort of expect maybe that Urumi or another Mahout Lancer shipments on the way, that he's going to continue with that Sepoy production, and he can sort of adjust his unit composition in response to that.
There they are.
We'll see, though. It's looking pretty good for India at the moment.
Coming back in with the cavalry, though. There's only 1 villager up this side, but it will go down. He's going to be able to pick that up. But here come the Sepoy now with the Urumi and the Mahouts pulling them forward. And this is a big army now. 2 very strong shipments in a row to send. Going to start tearing through this wall. And Lukas going to take his vills off that coin mine here. Move them over to somewhere else. Just, I don't think enough to deal with that just yet.
Yeah, though, I feel like he kind of needs to be doing something with his extra range advantage on those ArqueBusier, but no, just content to sit back and continue raiding. I think he's maybe just too afraid that he can't fight that. The Redcoat's getting caught a little bit, but
ceasefire coming in
and here's
from China.
The ceasefire.
Not China, pardon me. India looking to keep the ceasefire. He's got 12 seconds now. He's going to chase the green units whilst he's triggered this to get the Urumi up in the face of the units here, and these very, very strong.
Yeah, this is going to be a really nice choke point, though, potentially for Lukas in here when the ceasefire ends, and this is not looking like a terrible position for him at all. Although it's going to be difficult still to beat these units, but
the Mahout's just stuck at the back, though. Seems okay, and looks like the Changdao really going to find them nice and close as well. And look at that.
Yeah,
I wonder
but
if could he build a wall and stop the Mahouts coming in? Not going to do that.
the Urmi on top of the swords is not what you want for sure. That's going to really, really hurt Lukas, and it looks like he's losing this fight convincingly.
Yeah.
Here, and yeah, it looks like Tabben is going to be picking up his first win in the series, most likely off the back of this victory, and tie it up 1-1. China, I don't think, has much going for them after this fight here. Though he might still have a shipment on the way. I mean, he just sent one. He sent Repelling Volley a moment ago, which is giving him that extra multiplier against those Sepoy, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. There's just so many units left for Tabben, and even one Mahout Lancer and a couple of Urmi still up. And only 3 RQBCAs to China's name at the moment, going to get cleaned up by that Mahout Lancer, and these buildings are going to go down. Looks like he might try and stick it out a little while longer, but it's looking like it's probably over at this point.
Yeah,
and
gonna lose his War Academy, a couple of villages here as well, and lots of siege on a unit like a Sepoy. They're going to be able to kill these buildings quite quickly. And look, more units on the other side on the trading post here. And he's just sort of surrounded, even some units in the middle. But actually, Meteor Hammer, they do find a few of the Gurkha there. Splosh.
Yeah, it's kind of the only thing that might keep him in the game is getting good picks like that. But I mean, just look at the military population right now. It's so heavily in favor of India that losing 10 units for free isn't really much of a big deal either. And he's going to be losing all of this infrastructure. A second village going to go down. Already lost the War Academy and another village, and he just can't afford to replace it right now. And yeah, it feels like it's only a matter of time. And all of this is just as a result of that pressure in Colonial being so effective. Just gave India so much time to get up to the Fortress Age, do whatever they want. China really just had no opportunity to try and punish that like they would normally like to.
Yeah, but more Meteor Hammer going to find the Gurkha. But again, more of the same. It's not overly important for him. These Changdao in cover mode, tanking a bit of extra, but there's not really very many Arquebusier behind that to take advantage of these noble sacrifice. And now here comes 3 gardeners to plant some tulips or something like that. Lukas does tab out, bringing the score back to 1-1. Well done to Tabben there, picking up a victory straight off the back of his defeat and keeping the series very, very even. But look at this, India are adding in a town center as well in the middle of the map. And a trading post.
Yep, and yeah, okay.
Let's take a look at the military unit count here. You can see sort of in that early game, India coming out with his Sepoy and the Musketeers, pushes in, does a lot of damage, and then ultimately
it felt like
a horrible fight for Lukas there.
It felt like Lukas might have been a little bit too greedy with that 700 wood second shipment coming in second, rather. I mean, like, he built the walls and he built the second village, and it felt like he just needed to send units to hold, but he sent them a little bit late, and as a result, the Sepoy got into the base sort of uncontested. The wall didn't really buy as much time as maybe Lukas was expecting, and idling all those villagers, denying the age up for quite a while, and then killing those villages just really hurt. So I wonder if Lukas had shipped military units sooner, if the game could have been a little bit different, but unfortunately, he did think that he had the time to get away with that, and so Tabben, just a really solid punish, and yeah, so far shaping up to be a good series.
Yep. Good series, 1-1. It is a best of 5, and now Lukas gets the counter pick, so to speak. Tabben can no longer play China and must pick first on Baja, California. Let's see how it goes. I'm looking forward to this. Both these players very, very good. But do you think either of them, like, let's say they get past either King of Osbane or Jeramuno. I think they probably will. But, you know, both of those players strong as well. Do you think against Kanisi, either Tabben or Lukas stand a chance if they can get that far? I mean, Kanisi taken out quite convincingly by Kaiser, but Tabben and Lukas able to punish Kanisi in the same way that Kaiser can?
I think they definitely can, just because of the Civ rules, right? It's not the best for for Kadisi. Like we as we know, like he just doesn't have he doesn't have as strong of a civ pool after the Portuguese and the Japanese are used up, and I think that Lukas and Tabben will be pretty comfortable punishing that if they make it that far for sure.
Yeah. Although New England could be a problem. I mean, they can still veto Baja California, which is what we're seeing a lot of people do versus Kanisi, but that still leaves New England in the pool, and I'm looking forward to seeing more games on that map, just generally, but also especially from Kanisi. But yeah, these brackets are starting to look very stacked, and I think whoever gets through to the LAN, it'll be lots of defeats, but one glorious victory, I think, as Duck put it in his post. I like the sound of that. Game is now up though, so let's take a look at their civilizations here. Lukas gets to pick second. So let's see what Tabben goes for. It is Baja California. Tabben, I'm not sure what his civ pool is like. Perhaps you can tell us a bit more about the civilizations he likes to play.
From who, sorry?
From Tabben. I mean, he's got to pick first here. It's Baja California. What do you think Tabben will pick? All right.
Okay, Germany. I was gonna say Russia, because Tabben's quite a bit of a Russia player, but he plays Germany too, and Germany is maybe a little bit harder to counter than Russia is, so that makes sense for sure. Maybe you want to hold on to Russia for a potential counter pick later, or just until he's sort of forced to pick it because he doesn't have anything else. Yeah, I'm not sure what Lukas goes for here. I don't think Lukas is the most comfortable player against Germany, and he could just stick with China. China is sort of like the civ he's the most comfortable with at the moment, I think. We'll see, though. As for what else Lukas really plays, I know he plays Sioux in China, and he plays a little bit of Japan as well, I think, and maybe a bit of Aztec, but other than that, I'm not entirely certain what he's comfortable with.
How do you feel about Aztec here against Germany? That's a funky matchup.
Feel like it's terrible.
All right, so probably not.
Just because Aztec has a bit of a weakness to cavalry, and Germany, of course,
very
has
good at cavalry. Yeah, and lots of it. Sure. All right.
Yeah, it's like they kind of struggle against like sort of the like ranged infantry and cavalry composition. So like bow Ulan or bow Huss are really sort of difficult for them to eat. So I'd be a bit surprised to see Aztec here, but it could happen.
Looks like Lukas, he's having a good think, and rightfully so. Just, you need to really consider the matchup carefully and make sure you're picking it right. This is an important game. But I'd just like to remind everybody listening on YouTube that do come and follow us on Escape. I stream pretty much, full-time on Escape. Age of Empires 3, Age of Empires 2, everything Age of Empires. And with the definitive editions on the way, and indeed Age of Empires 4, hopefully there's a bright future for the franchise. But the stream, if you're watching on YouTube, is not going to be a regular thing. If you would like to get involved with the community and keep up to date with all the New World Championships that we're streaming, best to follow us on Twitch. That's where we will be active. But yeah, just to remind everyone, the LAN Ottoman coming out. The LAN will be on the 11th of July through to the 14th, and anyone and everyone is very, very welcome to come watch live in person. We have plenty of room at the studio. We're in Manchester, and details will be released very, very shortly. We've got a post that we put together. We're just waiting on one final detail from the hotel that we want to put the players up in, and then hopefully we can get people involved in a discount on that hotel as well if we buy enough rooms in bulk. But looks like Lukas gonna green in with the Ottoman here. He's locked Ottoman in versus Germany on Baja California.
Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting choice. I mean, personally, I like this matchup a lot for Germany. But on Baja California, I mean, it's a little bit harder maybe for Germany to hold on to one of those trading posts in the middle of the map, which could maybe change the matchup a little bit if Otto is allowed to hold on to Stagecoach, whereas Germany doesn't even have a trading post to sort of help them get those really strong shipments. Maybe it could be okay for Otto, but we'll see what he has in mind. Honestly, it could be anything. But yeah, I think I would definitely favor Tabben here at the moment, but we'll see how the game starts out.
Okay, and I'm wondering how your analysis of that is going to affect the betting there. If you're really favoring the matchup for Tabben, that's kind of interesting. Lukas must have something in mind. He spent quite a long time planning that. So watch this game, and we'll take a look at his deck and see if that can reveal anything. I'm looking forward to seeing what that might be. But let's start with Tabben. Maito seems to like Germany here. It is a 100 wood start, though, so we won't be seeing early trading posts, but 40 XP going to be really, really nice. But the Explorer going to head on out onto the map anyway. Villager can pick that up in just a moment, I suppose. Villager's now switching over to food there. Going to shoot them towards the town centre. But on the right-hand side of the map, here we do have the Ottoman. They start with considerably more wood. Not going to gather that gold up. No use to him right now, but the Explorer goes straight to the middle of the map.
Pass? It looks like he's not going to get that pass, maybe. Well, it'll be really close.
It's halfway.
I think he should. I don't know. I think he should get it. I think
he'll for sure get that. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, that's gonna be a nice start for him. That's gonna give him his first shipment, or very close to his first shipment right away.
Yeah.
We'll see in a moment there. Yeah, almost has it, and that will help him age up a little bit sooner, getting that 3 villagers very, very early. I thought this map had been fixed, but maybe it hasn't been included in EP yet. With that middle trading post, that's sort of been a little bit controversial lately. But that might be part of the reason that he picked the Ottomans here. Getting 3 villagers earlier can sort of help your age up by like 15 to 20 seconds as Otto, and that can be quite big in this matchup potentially, no matter what build you're doing, whether it's going to be a fast fortress or some kind of colonial thing. Like, even just getting your trading posts down in transition to colonial is going to be much, much faster and easier as a result of aging up sooner, and could potentially just deny them from Germany if he's aging up fast enough.
Yeah, both players going to get a juicy wood treasure there. But, Gaja changed the map, right? It made it smaller. It was a very, very big map, and it was never intended to be a big map, he said, and fixed it for the New World Championship. But what he's inadvertently done is made that middle TP always give you the first pass immediately as soon as you built it. Great playing style, as Kaiser was saying to him in previous games. So that's really, really strong. Green went for it, but blue didn't even try to go for it. So it's not like they both went for it. It's just a feature of the map in this particular game, but something that sounds like it'll be changed for the LAN event. But a good age one from both players, actually. Lukas picking up an extra settler and a nice big juicy wood treasure there as well. But Lukas now is going up to the next stage. To be expected, Germany always going to be a bit slower than the Ottomans here. 20% with the quartermaster already up. And by the looks of it, we don't see any forward villages or anything like that. So nothing super aggressive against Germany. Can you tell us then, how come you favor Germany so much here? I feel like Ottoman...
Well, it's just because I feel like maybe it just has to do with the meta. Like, people don't really make Abus guns enough, and I feel like Abus guns are really hard to deal with, even as Germany. But like, Ottoman, they have a pretty immobile army, right? Like, they don't really like to make cavalry archers or a lot of hussars most of the time, just because they're too expensive, and cavalry archers just aren't very good. And so as a result, like, Germany has a really big advantage at all stages in the game, just with raids and stuff like that. Get the trading post.
Oh, wow. Did Blue snipe that from under his nose? Yeah, it looks like Lukas was just about to put it down. He had the 200 wood ready. But Tabben, he wants his trading post during transition and sort of beat him to it there. That was really, really nice for him. Obviously, Lukas wanted this spot. Isn't going to get the pass, though.
Yeah, so that's going to be nice for him. What I was saying, though, now I've lost my train of thought. Right. So the raids obviously are going to be hurting Otto all game long potentially if Tabben's on top of things, which, knowing Tabben, I think he will be. And on top of that, just later in the game, Germany also gets access to things like war wagons, and as we know, like Abyss guns don't really do super well against ranged cavalry, and war wagons with that extra range on them can be quite strong against Otto if you get enough of them. Um, but we'll see what Lukas has
wow.
in mind. Looks like it's going to be Jan Hus, and this is also something that I feel like Otto players do a lot against Germany that I feel like is not actually super strong. It's going to be 700 gold first, so that's going to mean that he's going to be able to get 5 Jans and 5 Hus out in that first batch. I don't know how familiar Tabben is with playing this matchup, but Jan Hus is really strong early, but then it kind of starts falling off in sort of the mid-colonial, especially if you don't have Stagecoach behind it, and you aren't able to like mix in Abyss guns and stuff like that. And something like Doppelsoldners could do really, really well here against this composition.
Yeah,
but we'll see if Tabben's aware of that. He might not be.
Couple of Ulans now coming out. They are going to chase down the Explorer, but the Jans are able to deflect this, so half the HP of that Ulan going to go down.
What does Tabben have in queue right now?
Yeah, let's switch on
He's
over to...
gathering gold. Maybe he does have Doppelsoldiers in queue. Yeah, he does.
So he's going to train Doppelsoldners against this. Going to be very strong. 5 Hussars coming in. And you're saying Jan Hus can be okay, but falls off. You know, Abyss guns definitely seem to scale better and be the stronger unit sort of overall. But right now, forcing a ton of idle villages, 16 in there, and most of them are settler wagons. It's pretty much the whole German economy here. 3 Doppelsoldners do come out, but they're not anywhere near the cavalry here. Janissaries coming in to poke, but yeah, looks like those villagers can now gather safely. The Hussars aren't going to scare them in to the TC with 3 Doppelsoldners nearby. Yeah, they can get back to work right away. Just taking a lot of shots here from the TC. Lukas trying to get something done, but now leaving. A few more Hussars have arrived there. Following up his 700 gold with 700 wood. He can get more houses down, which is what he'll need. Nice shots on the... Actually, not really any damage. I think, was he not shooting at the Dops there? I thought he got...
I think he was shooting at a villager on the deer. I couldn't quite tell with the screen share, but I think there was a villager on the deer that got garrisoned as that shot came in.
He's doing a, he's idling up these villagers quite a lot, but now 8 crossbowmen have been forced. I'm gonna force these units away here. The Cav don't really want to go in when there could be, you know, a second batch of Dops popping. There aren't anything in queue actually,
and Minutemen and stuff like that. Yeah,
and 3 existing Dops as well.
So I was saying earlier that Doppelsoldners are good against this composition, but sort of starting Doppelsoldners without shipping a bow or anything is maybe not ideal, just because he, as you saw, like he was still forced to idle a lot just because you don't have any ranged units to really defend. But the reason that Doppelsoldners are good against this unit composition in general is just because Janissaries are really strong. They're really tanky, but they do a lot less damage than sort of their other musketeer counterparts. And so managing to like snipe Doppelsoldners and stuff is quite a bit more difficult for Janissaries than it is for other ranged units. And with the extra speed on the Doppelsoldners and your Ulans around to snare, it can be really difficult to kite back. And especially if you're going for a really aggressive variation of this build, like with the 700 coin first, it's going to be a little bit harder to mix in something like Abyss guns to deal with that. Can we see if he's done anything with that 700 wood for maybe an artillery foundry in the middle?
Nothing.
So no, it doesn't look like it.
It looks like he's got Stagecoach in with that wood, and by the looks of it, by destroying the opponent's trading post, wants to build his own. So he's got just 100 wood there, but this trade post will go past the wood and get some extra. But no artillery foundry just yet, just houses and the Stagecoach upgrade by the looks of it. 3 Hussars coming in on top of this just to keep the units up, keep the pressure up. So no artillery foundry, but he does have the Stagecoach and is getting the final trading post behind this. But it looks like, meanwhile, Germany, looks like they're macroing to go up to the next stage. Pretty much every villager on gold, and 700 coin on the floor here. Pardon me, on food.
I think with him trying to go up to Fortress, Ottoman's actually in a fine spot here. I think while he was sieging that trading post, he could have maybe pushed out a little bit or done something like that, but
What, attack
for the moment,
these buildings or something?
Yeah, I really don't think that it's a very easy push for Ottoman to hold. Although, I mean, Tabben's build wasn't really ideal for that kind of timing. Um, but yeah, as a result, the state of the game right now, Ottoman is going to be just fine while Germany ages up. They're going to have 3 TP stagecoach. They might even have a little bit of a window to push in here with another batch of units while Tabben is aging. And it could be a little bit tricky to defend. But again, I don't know if he really has the Janissary mass to deal with the Doppelsoldners, so we'll have to wait and see. But he could also potentially follow him up to Fortress. I can't really tell what the resources are like on the UI, but
It doesn't look like he's going to go up just yet. He's not got a lot of gold on the floor. He sent both his gold shipments, and I think he's just massing Janissaries by the looks of it at this point, and Hussars as well. We can switch over to units in
so
queue.
I guess he's kind of expecting that age up then, and might be waiting for that before he pushes in. But he might need to push in before it happens. But it looks like that's not going to be the case, so it might be a little bit slow. 5 Jans now coming from the town center. Going to take a long time to get to the fight, but they will sort of help out with the timing push. They might get there in time before Germany has any fortress units out, and there we go. Seeing the fortress age, he's going to push into the base
Tabben's
and
up
try
to
and
fortress.
see what he can do.
Here comes the cavalry pushing in here, going to force the villagers into the town center. This could be a little bit dicey. Let's take a look at these units for Germany. No upgrades coming in just yet, but remember he's got a shipment on the way and some skirmishers in queue as well. Going to quickly take out that house. He's looking to take the fight. Minutemen being called. Ottoman wants to deal with this German army before they can be upgraded or a shipment arrives at the same time with them, but Minutemen being called here. Let's see if he can use the cav and their speed to force a fight here. There are a lot of Doppelsoldners in the back here, which could be quite scary for the cavalry, but 3 war wagons do arrive and 3 Alans as well on top of that.
It's completely surrounded, though, and that's exactly what Ottoman needs to potentially win this game. And, he denied that house early on that timing push, which has slowed down sort of the batches. We saw he only got 1 batch of skirmishers out. He can start training them again now, but he's also sort of short on gold with that gold mine running out as he tried to age here as a result of going for those Doppelsoldners as well. So all things considered, this is looking pretty okay for Ottoman, but that being said, it might be enough for Tabben to stabilize. What happened to the Doppelsoldners? There don't seem to be any left. They all go down?
It seems like they went down, yeah. They've all... well, they must have done, surely.
Yeah, I guess they must have just went in and the Janissaries cleaned them up. And so with no gold mine here, there's not going to be any units coming from Tabben aside from shipments. But Tabben's sort of forced to chase these crossbows and war wagons a little bit outside of the base, which might give Tabben a little bit of time to sort of set up his eco again, get those villagers back to work, and maybe start trading units. He's going to lose all the crossbows, but those war wagons should potentially be able to stay alive the whole time. We'll see.
Skirmishers
and Alans coming in. Shipment, but the Hussars, they're sort of aware that this has to be the next shipment that's coming, so he's going to be sitting under this town center. I don't think he saw the shipment, so he's just not aware that it's actually out just yet. But he knows that that's going to be something that's on the way. So he's going to be focusing his attention towards the town center for that. But yeah, these 2 war wagons are going to be a pain while he's trying to sit in the base here.
Yeah. Does have some skirmishes, though. As long as he can take these Huss out, perhaps he can just sort of kite back away from those Janissaries, although there's not a lot of room. Doesn't have any units in queue just yet. Just relying on shipments here. Still, so many villagers in that TC. 19, and now only just these settler wagons coming out to get back to work. And, they count as just 1 when they should be 2. That 19 is a low number. He's now just getting back to work. But at least he's sort of pushed Ottoman out of his base. But I don't think Ottoman minds too much, right? He just needs to remass a little bit. He's done a lot of damage there just as his opponent popped up to Fortress. But behind this, Ottoman, 3 TP stagecoach. And he's going to be feeling pretty good. 600 wood. And going to add in with that a market and get his upgrades in.
Building a dock as well, it looks like, on the north side there. So going to start trying to add some fishing boats in to sort of help bolster that advantage that he's got early on here. But that might be a little bit too slow. He's still got no artillery foundry, right? Just sticking with Jan Hus for now?
He has got an artillery foundry now. He's got Janissaries in queue somewhere. I mean, Abbas guns So we will find it. Here it is.
Okay. And yeah, the Abyss guns are going to help a little bit more against the skirmishers and the war wagons than the Jan Hus will, for sure. But it's going to take a little while for him to really get a decent mass of them going. But yeah, Scooter's coming in now.
Okay, so late water boom here, just behind this. He's done a lot of damage, and just gonna take the eco option, turn that advantage of putting Tabben on the back foot. I'm going to use it to build a dock to slow down just a little bit and see if he can get his eco up that way. How do you... I mean, there's two options, right? It's either what I was kind of expecting was to remass and then sort of keep containing and pushing in and dealing damage with this TP stagecoach, but he's decided actually, hold on, I want to slow down instead and get a dock. I mean, both are fine choices, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not really sure how this plays out. I mean, Ottoman are not really known for their great economy, but adding in the water behind this will certainly help, as well as having the stagecoach behind this. And Germany is just still hurting from that timing earlier. They don't really have a lot of units out. They don't have a lot of shipments coming because their trading post was killed earlier. So at the moment, it's definitely looking good for Otto, and switching to this sort of slower style might just be a safer way of closing it out. That being said, though, he's still in Colonial, and fighting in Colonial against H3 units is only good for so long. Looks like he's just going to try and brute force his way through the gate here with the Abyss guns in the back to try and help out against the skirmishers here, but it's not going to be super effective. It looks like he's going to be forced to sort of kite his way on out of there.
Yeah, perhaps took a few too many damages sieging down the wall. And now Blue can just seal it back up again. So I think Tabben going to be quite pleased with that. The wall doing great work, keeping all of those Jans idle just whilst he shot at them.
I think Tabben might even be feeling confident enough with that trade to even push out. I mean, like, there's not really enough Abyss guns, and in Colonial Age, they only have 18 range, so the skirmishers do outrange them, so with good micro, he can sort of keep those at a distance, and those skirmishers are going to be a big problem for Lukas moving forward now. But the water boom has started to get going a little bit. Got a decent number of fishing boats out. He's got 2 docks up, actually, on the same side, which is maybe not ideal. It would have been nice if it was on the other side of the map. But his economy is not looking too bad, but kind of needs to think about getting to Fortress himself, maybe, which it looks like he is doing. Is that right?
He is macroing for that. Yeah, he's got all the food he needs, and very shortly he'll have the coin as well. So does intend to go up to the Fortress Age, and he's got a shipment available at the moment, which he's not sending, which just confirms to us that he's saving it for the next age there. Let's take a look at what's in deck. This time, didn't have any water capabilities on Florida, but Lukas this time looking to, if we can see, schooners, and has already sent it, 2 galleys, a frigate, and of course, well, I was going to say 4 Mamelukes, but that's not a water shipment, but it is in the deck, of course.
Yeah,
Ulan's coming in.
Of course, we carry later. And of course, now with no Hussars out, this is where the raids start to be really annoying for Ottomans. Of course, not being super effective, they're actually losing most of those Ulans. But especially if Lukas is trying to be active with those units, maybe later on after he's aged up, the raids will be a little bit annoying to deal with because he just won't have the mobility to really answer that. However, on Baja California, he could maybe start walling up some of the chokes around those cliffs and stuff like that, make those raiding paths a little bit less accessible for Germany moving forward into the game, but not doing that just yet, but is something maybe he might do later.
Yeah, I'd like to see that, wall off those chokes and etc. But looks like he's pushing out now. Skirmishers and a couple of war wagons are going to siege down the stable. They don't have very much siege, so the stable not going to go down super quick, but probably is still going to lose it. And not enough Ottoman stuff to sort of defend Ottoman aging behind this, right? Or has just spent a bunch of resources on aging. Not a huge amount of army just yet.
Yeah, he's just going to let those buildings die. It feels like he's sort of squandered his advantage a little bit here. With the fish boom and then the age up coming in, was maybe just a little bit too slow. And Tabben with the Black Riders out now. His army's looking really, really scary. And Ottoman has a really hard time dealing with this type of composition once it gets to this large of a mass, but he does have the falconets out, which will help him for sure.
Yeah, and going to see a fight here. It could be really hard to get to the Falks, especially without any cav. But looking to get back, I guess he just doesn't have the units just yet. Going to lose some villagers here on the coast. Going to lose his TP, but maybe it's okay. Just sort of wait as long as possible. He's got all this fish boom behind it, right? And his villagers train for free. And he's got the same eco and the TP stagecoach. So still very strong economically. Just needs a bit more time to get a few more units out and sort of be okay. But looks like Tabben doesn't want to force a fight. Just going to destroy the TP. Looks like he was going back, but actually no, he will come in. He's going to look for those Jans. He's going to find them. He's going to take a big volley here. And the cannon's not set up, but now maybe he forces a fight here. But Ottoman will soon have another shipment in. And the more time, the better for Lukas here playing as green.
Yeah, well, it's okay for him economically, but still, in terms of military, it's still difficult for him the larger this mass gets, just because he doesn't have a great answer to Skirm Goon. Like, he's got to train Janissaries. It's kind of something that you have to do as Otto. And Janissaries just aren't the best unit against, like, Skirms and War Wagons and Black Riders and everything. And so, I mean, the larger the mass gets, I feel like maybe the harder it's going to be for Lukas to potentially win a fight. But yeah, in terms of economy, he can sort of keep up the unit production and stuff like that. It's going to be tricky for him. The only thing he really has going for him with this composition is the falconets that sort of help mitigate the disadvantage of having those Janissaries, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. And yeah, that frigate, kind of an interesting choice.
I guess
not really doing anything for him. It just kind of defends against a potential water shipment from Tabben, but in the meantime, it's not really going to accomplish too much.
Yeah, it's just sitting there. It's, you know, whilst the blue army gets bigger and bigger and harder to deal with, as you keep saying. Looks like he is going to replace the TP. Blue is trying to sneak his explorer back, but green wasn't going to let him do that. But I wonder if it's good to get it now, just because you don't want to lose your fish, and at this point in the game, at 20 minutes, your shipments don't come in very quickly, so it's not like you can respond quickly with a frigate. You have to wait for a long time before a shipment becomes available, so just sort of having it on hand. But, you know, right now it's not helpful to him. I mean, he's got a lot more Abyss guns now. He's still got the 2 Falcons here, so seems okay at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay defensively for sure, but it just feels like the fight that's going to commence at some point in the next couple minutes here is maybe a bit more important. Like maybe something like Janissary combat or artillery attack for those Abyss guns and those falconets maybe would be more preferable. It's a little bit of a trade-off, I guess. You sort of get that economic security, but you sort of maybe miss out on the opportunity to win a fight.
Here we go. Go time now with Jaegers coming in and Black Riders just before that. Yeah, I think now this is go time for... This is what Germany was waiting for, looking to force a fight here with the Jaegers. Abyss guns coming forward here. Abyss very strong against Jaeger, and with the falconets in the back, that's good as well.
Counter-infantry rifling actually being researched for Tabben as well, so they're just going to melt through those Janissaries.
Oh, wow, yeah. Get that ×3 multiplier. That's the trouble with Jans. They're just a bit sort of... They're not good against skirmishers, that's for sure.
They're a musket type unit, and that's just one of the weaknesses that Otto has moving into the later stages of the game. You don't want to be making muskets all the time.
But one of the advantages they do have is Abyss guns, and maybe this can help.
Right.
But they're going down quickly.
Yeah, I mean, once the unit masses get large enough, the Abyss guns start being really cost ineffective. And so I think the skirmisher mass is going to be more than enough here, and the Ottoman army is just melting before this skirmisher mass. And I mean, Janissary combat coming in at the tail end of this fight, but it's not really going to matter. It's not. I don't even know if it even does anything against counter infantry rifling. Maybe they still kill them in the same number of hits. I don't know. But yeah, there the falconets go down, the Jans get cleaned up, the Abyss guns get cleaned up, and behind this Tabben still got a very large army, and all the villagers are going to be very exposed from Lukas. And it looks like Germany is going to be taking a pretty convincing lead in this game at the moment. The there are some more Janissaries out, some more Apis guns out. And he does maybe still have the potential for like Mamelukes or something like that to maybe try and swing the game, but I just feel like the army sizes are just too large at this point.
Yeah, I feel like your Mamelukes very strong, especially against skirmishes, but they're just not as impactful as they are sort of as a an early Fortress Age shipment. But 1,000 gold coming down for Lukas there. And that makes sense. He's used up most of his mines and doesn't have all that much. Looks like there's some Janissaries on the top.
Which makes it weird that... I was going to say it's also weird that Tabben's getting Amalgamation now that all the mines are gone. He just finished it.
Huh. Yeah.
Actually not going to do anything for him. But,
that's a good example of why Amalgamation's not a great tech, because by the time you are able to send it and research it, there's not enough mines left on the map for it to actually be good. But looks like, Tabben going to lose a few villages here. Lukas got some Janissaries and Abyss guns sort of nearby, and blew a way off to defend that there. He's going to lose this outpost unless he forces a response.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, again, one of Ottoman's weaknesses is they're really immobile, and there's not going to be anything for them to do to chase down these villagers from the tower. Like, the tower's going to go down, but the vills can just run away, and they're not really going to take any damage, especially from the Abyss guns, who have a little bit of a reduction against villagers. And, yeah, they're going to get out of there just fine, and the war wagons are going to come here, clean up the army. And, that could potentially be the end of the game, losing these units here. The skirmishers coming in, not really needed, but they'll provide moral support for these war wagons as they clean up the last of the Abyss guns.
Right, we're here for you. Nice job. Yeah. Oh dear, it's not looking good. It looks so strong for Lukas in the early game. He was sort of dominating in base, and Tabben was finding it hard to gather. So many villages sort of belled up, but that switch into the sea and the aging at the same time, and just before that as well, sieging down the gates and losing a lot of Janissaries trying to force that fight there, but ultimately killing the wall and then deciding to leave. Just didn't work out very well, and I think sort of almost throwing away that advantage somewhat. I mean, the economies are still very even, but Lukas very far behind on military count and about to lose access to his coin mine, and I'm sure the fish about to be used up as well very soon, and then a lot of those boats are going to become sort of useless as there's there's not enough whales to support that number of fishing boats.
He's added in a second dock on the south side of the map, it looks like, but it's been spotted by Tabben. Okay, looks like it's not even completed, so it's just going to get sieged down by those Ulans. But seeing that dock is going to alert Talon of the possibility of water being up for Lukas on the other side, and he could even think about contesting that himself in the near future as well, so...
I think he knows already. If he didn't already, he certainly will now, but there was an Ulan earlier that may have scouted these docks. I'm not certain of that, but I don't think Tabben really cares at this point. He's walking in here with an unstoppable number of units. It doesn't matter what Lukas throws at him. Mamelukes, big surprise number of hussars or whatever, or, anything. There's enough war wagons to handle it, and skirmishes as well.
Yeah, it's looking pretty dire for Lukas at this point. I mean, he's waiting for the Mamelukes. Like, sometimes Mamelukes could perform miracles, but I don't think they're gonna perform one this time. But he's gonna try it anyway.
Do you think they're on the way, or he's got Spahi came in?
I don't know if they're on the way, but I mean, I feel like that's what he's got to be waiting for either way, regardless of whether they're already on the way. They're kind of like his only chance of winning at this point, right?
Yeah. I don't... Well... Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of war wagons there.
Yeah, I don't think Otto will be able to clinch this one out. It's looking like it's just a matter of time before those Mamelukes arrive and he's forced to fight.
He has got Spahi mixed in, and big batch of hussars coming out, so sort of big cav switch coming in. Spahi very, very strong. But getting
it looks like he's forcing a fight now, so the shipment might be on the way. But just look at how quickly everything's going down. Like, the infantry couldn't even get into combat before half the cavalry is taken out. And
so many war wagons. With range...
Tabben doesn't even really have to micro this, to be honest.
But he's going to anyway, and that looks like it's the end of the Ottoman army. There's so many war wagons with cavalry combat and caracol in as well. And they just cleaned up all of those hussars. And look at this. Not even a dent in that German army. GG coming out there. Looks like Lukas, he was performing really well to begin with. But couldn't finish out the game.
Gave the win to the wrong person.
Ah.
Just, I don't know, just played it too slowly at one point. Like, just doing schooners while also saving to age just gave Germany this big window to sort of cover their military and then get out onto the map and siege down all the military buildings and start contesting the resources and get those gold mines back. And it just felt really awkward.
Lukas was ahead in eco the whole game there with more resources gathered, but just take a look at these fights. This one at the end, not so good here. And then I think this is when he went in to siege down that wall. If he hadn't sieged down
look at population.
Oh, pardon me. I
Probably even scarier.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I guess Abyss guns cost 2 population, so fair enough.
I did it for a dramatic effect. But this is where he was sieging the wall. And imagine if he hadn't done that. If he just continued to have like slightly more units, Germany would have found it very hard to push out. And, he at that point in time, he was sort of contained in his base, gathering from berries, not really access to hunt. And I think he had just one sort of low coin mine left, not much left in it. But no, well done to Tabben. Does pick up the second game there and going to even out this series. And let's take a look at the matchup so far. Looks like Lukas has won with the Sioux, and Tabben following up with 2 victories after that with India and Germany. He can no longer play those civilizations. Let's see what civ he picks next. He does have to pick first, as he was the previous winner. The next map will be... I'm not sure. I didn't look. I should have looked. It is Deccan. All right. I really like Deccan.
Deccan's a fun map.
It is a lot of fun. We always seem to see cool games on Deccan.
Tabben's best sort of. I feel like Tabben's go-to civ on Deccan is kind of India, and that's sort of gone. So I'm kind of interested to see what he picks here because I feel like his next best civ is kind of Russia, and that's the one that he's most comfortable with. But I guess he might pick Spain or Brit still. I haven't really seen... Or did I say Spain? I meant French. But I guess Spain would be okay as well.
How does he feel with Japan, do you think? Do you think that's an option for Tabben?
I've not really seen Tabben play Japan all that much, so I'm honestly not certain.
Unlikely then to see Japan. Okay, we'll see what he picks. Tabben does have to pick first here. This could be an awkward map for him then, with the civ pool that he has. And that's the trouble with going first all the time. That's the trouble with winning all those damn games.
Yep. Yeah, I'm honestly not sure what Tabben will pick. Okay, there it is. It's going to be France. It's just, I guess, the safest choice. Like, he could go for Russia, which he's maybe slightly more comfortable with, but they're just a little bit riskier. A little bit easier to get countered, especially on Deccan, where they don't really have a lot of ways to spend those early resources.
This is match point for Tabben. The score is 2-1, and it is a best of 5.
I think... Sorry, I was going to say Tabben. I think Lukas might go for China here. I think China versus French is a matchup he's pretty comfortable with. It's a little bit different on Deccan, but might still go for that. That is a matchup he played against Raphael as well and actually managed to win. So that's going to be my prediction. But he could go for something like Japan as well, that Lukas is definitely capable of playing. And is definitely a more reasonable pick on Deccan than on other maps. We'll see though. I'm gonna say China. Final answer.
Tabben has $500.
$1 million.
$1 million.
I'm not going for 500.
I kind of want to take you off on that. I won't though. Hold on a moment. Well, he played China earlier, but he didn't win, so he still can play them. But yeah, Tabben, this is a fair enough safe pick, right? You've got the extra scout to contest the llamas, and it's I don't know why I call them llamas all the time. The yaks. and it's hard to counter France, as we've said. And Tabben's in a position to play a Civ that he's not quite as comfortable with, right? I'm sure he's good with France. He knows how to play them, but we keep, you've said Russia is his comfort pick, his best Civ. Being 2 points up, or I guess 1 point up, but either way on match points, you can afford to do this, and then save your Russia for later on. Lukas having a big thonk. I think that's the theme. Both players very, very careful what Civ they want to pick, and you do have to be. It's a very important match. If they lose here, okay, China, you won your $1 million.
Yes. I don't know what to buy with it. I guess I'll just donate it to the prize pool.
Nice.
First place is now $1 million.
Well, that's pretty good.
$1 million imaginary dollars.
You get a few real US dollars and $1 million imaginary ones. Pog champ.
But yeah, anyway. I'm not quite sure how this matchup plays out on this map. China, of course, can make quite good use of those starting crates, but so can France. One thing I'm kind of interested to see about this matchup on this map is how Lukas actually spends those resources, because you actually end up with like an odd number of wood crates, so you can kind of try to age up a little bit faster as China, and not chop the extra 100 wood for another village or trading post. Or you can be really greedy and chop that extra 100 wood and sort of age at a more normal time, but be a little bit stronger economically than you normally would. So we'll see what he chooses to do, but that depending on what Tabben does, if Lukas goes really greedy, it could be an interesting game for sure.
Yeah, France versus China coming up next on Deccan. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 4 in a best of 5 series between Tabben and Lukas. It is match point for Tabben. He's 2 victories, his opponent on 1. Let's see if Tabben can take the series here, or maybe Lukas can even it up to 2-2, and we'll get that final game on the Thar Desert. The matchup will be France versus China on Deccan here. The loser will be eliminated from the tournament, so the winner will have the pleasure of 2 more matches potentially before they can get to the LAN and qualify. Let's start with Lukas. Here he is in the color green, playing as China. Fixed crate start plus some because it's India. Well, Deccan, which I suppose is in India. But with that, we're going to see the Explorer here move on out to get a trading post by the looks of it. That's sort of where he's heading. And his Disciple going to get on the plateau for some yaks there. His opponent, Tabben, spawning on the right-hand side of the map. Going to start with an early market, 2 yaks coming home, and also going to get out on the map for a TP. Going to go for the mid-map one, rather than the one sort of next to his base there. That's interesting. Perhaps he has calculated a faster XP drop from that one or something that.
I think you just do that to try and get some more yaks, because you sort of walk along the plateau, and there's often yaks that will spawn at the entrance there.
Ah, yeah, and then you might find them as well and have an extra bonus. Makes a lot of sense.
Exactly, yeah.
Gonna find some on the south there. And Tabben off to a really nice start. 4 yaks thus far, but Lukas not far behind. He's got 2. I'm gonna find 2 more in the back of his base. Gonna bring him up to 4 in total. So both players completely even on yaks. This is looking up already to be a very nice game.
Yep. Can you take a look at Lukas's base? Looks like he's not chopping wood, or is he? Okay, he does have a vill on wood, so maybe he's going to be going for a second village here before he sends that Northern Refugees shipment. He's even holding on to the shipment for the time being, it looks like, so
yeah.
that is likely the case. So he'll have a lot of population space and an extra villager to work with than he normally would have, but that might slow down his age up a little bit.
Where is the village?
Although I don't know
then?
if he actually.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense,
Oh,
right? 110
90.
wood, and then finish it off with the 90. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Gonna delay his villager a bit, but on Deccan with the extra crates, probably not going to matter too much, and probably just worth it to delay that and get an extra village in total, so that you have +1. Really nice treasure find there, but a very even age one thus far. I think Lukas going to top it slightly with 90 wood that he's incorporating into his build, which is always really, really good. But let's take a look up on the top of the map here. Tabben going to find a nice treasure as well. Admittedly, not as good as, say, the wood treasure, but 80 coin there going to be found. Tabben, though, now going up to the next stage. He's got the Quartermaster in queue. Let's switch on over to Shipment Sent, and 3 CDBs already in at 1 minute 53. Very, very early. Northern refugees now only just coming in. Going to get 3 villages in total. That's really nice for China. In the back has a 50 wood treasure as well. Pretty good. But France versus Germany. I'm interested to see how France... pardon me, yes, France versus China. I'm interested to see how France will play this then. Because China, we saw previously, went very strong, fast fortress. Will France pressure them? But is there room to just, do semi-FF, get up to fortress yourself as China? This is how I would play the matchup as France, and just, raid with 5, 10, maybe even 15 cav, just keep the China constantly build up in his base, and, almost sacrificing your hussars under the TC, trading off the idle villager time and stopping their wonder from going up super fast.
Yeah, and maybe even forcing like a 9 pike or something like that. You definitely can. But I'm honestly not sure how Tabben will play it. He's kind of able to do whatever he wants at this point, just because China is aging so much later than he is. As a result of sort of delaying that villager shipment so much. Going to be dropping down a second layer of walls even, just for that extra safety. Is that a forward base going down in the middle of the map, or am I crazy? Yeah. Okay, so... it's a Rax, which is kind of interesting. What's he training? Nothing at the moment, but it looks like he's macroed for musketeers. Yeah, okay. So, might be just going for the muskets, maybe to siege down China's trading post, and then maybe age up and do some kind of early Musk Falk timing, maybe with some cuirassiers added in as well. And he's spotted that the villagers are on gold as well, so he knows that most likely those musketeers aren't going to get contested from sieging down that trading post or anything.
But a second layer of wall here could be dicey, right? As he approaches the wall, getting through that going to buy him a lot of time. Let's take a... Yeah, in the other passage...
Well, he's not going to go for the wall, right? He's just going to go for the trading post, probably.
Ah.
And, I mean, the wall might buy some time later with the falconets, but he doesn't really even have to go through that path.
Just shutting it down for the time being. 700 wood coming down. And here goes the musketeers. So, yeah, not looking to raid in base or something like that. Instead, just going to siege.
Yeah, and I think he's just going to be going for that Musk Falk here timing push as China ages up. I mean, China will be up probably at the same time as France, maybe even a little bit earlier. But they're still going to have... they're going to be a little bit slower on getting the units out.
But and a stable added in as well. For blue.
Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, he's got hussars in queue, so maybe he is going for some kind of timing push.
Take down the trading post whilst training, 10 musketeers, 5 hussars behind it. Yeah, he's got 3 in queue, training up for 5 by the looks of it. And then once, this is down, the hussars will be on the board, and they'll have made their way across the map, and then can push in and perhaps delay this wonder, which is now going down 4 villages on that. Lukas trying to get up to Fortress Age very quickly, but if he can push in now, that would be quite strong, I think, with a few units in base, just to make the wonder take longer to get up, and just delay China as much as he can. The Explorer coming in, going to look for where that wonder is. And yeah, the Musketeers, they've now destroyed it, looking to get in, and the Hussars, only 3 of them, going to meet and push in here.
Yeah, going to try and disrupt the Chinese base a little bit while he's aging, and then follow him up himself with the 700 coin coming in. But yeah, these vills going to get forced off this building. Everything's going to get idled up. 1 vill goes down. Probably going to lose a second one. No, not going to lose a second.
Went in the village.
No, okay, gets into the village just in time. But all these buildings are going to get delayed.
Yeah, might even destroy the War Academy and the Consulate, right? They're both sort of nearly there. And that wonder... you can't destroy it, but no villagers building it. It's going to go up very, very slowly now. I think he's spoiled for choice. He's not sure what to do. He wants to stand here and stop villagers building the wonder, but he also wants to come and destroy the consulate. Looks like sentries and irregulars being called.
Yeah, trying to save that console, or at least make him pay for it. Oh, and the old Han banner army popping out as well, so he is going to save that. That's actually going to be a really nice trade for Lukas overall, and Tabben hasn't even started aging yet, so things starting to look pretty good for Lukas, actually. This timing maybe not working out as well as Tabben would like.
Yeah, gonna lose all those musks and just the one hussar there. And didn't actually end up killing the consulate. It will be damaged slightly, but who cares? Did force irregulars and centuries, but ultimately I think Lukas going to be quite pleased with that. He did lose a villager. Let's take a look at units lost here. Just the one villager, though. So, you know, that's absolutely fine. I think Lukas will be fine with that. And a market coming down as well here. And now up to the Fortress Age. This is really, really good. I think China's in a good position.
Yeah, definitely looking to be in a good spot for sure. One Hussar just kind of gifting his life to the Chinese for some reason.
Sweet embrace of death. Yeah, that Hussar not long for this world. Tabben now up there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he was trying to scout with it, but not going to spot anything super meaningful. 5 Meteor Hammer is going to be coming out for China, so just going to be working up to that big sort of Chinese death ball with all the cavalry and the swordsmen, and with a few skirmishers behind it. But, I mean, Tabben did force a lot of idle time on that that push as well, so even though he traded off his units for it, as you said, he forced the Minutemen and stuff like that, got some damage done, killed the trading post, forced idle time, etc. So overall, it probably wasn't that bad for him, or as bad as we initially thought. Like, Lukas is still being slowed down a little bit by it and doesn't have his market upgrades in or anything like that. So Tabben's still in an okay spot. Overall, the game is looking probably pretty even at the moment. And from here, it's kind of going to be on France to maybe make sure that China doesn't really leave their base super comfortably, or else maybe go up to the industrial age or anything like that.
Yeah. I always feel like, as France, I want to be taking fights all game long against China. Just don't let them mass up a silly number of units where they get very, very scary. Just trade off sort of constantly. Pressure quite early with falconets. And if also when you're just trading throughout the game, it also makes it harder for them to get up to the industrial age, where China can be very, very strong, since they constantly have to be training units and you're sort of stopping them. But look at this, 5 gendarmes being trained, and 8 skirmishers as well. Just trying to beat China, perhaps at their own game, with lots of different unit types.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people training cuirassiers against China. It can work if they go for like heavy infantry compositions, but if they go a little bit heavier on the cavalry, they feel like they're maybe not the most effective units in the world. But not a lot of units out for China at the moment, so there could be a little bit of a timing here.
Yeah, he's got no trading post, which, you know, that's kind of a big deal for him. He never managed to get one, and that's just going to delay his sort of shipment curve here. But 9 Manchu do hit the board, and that's going to make the cuirassiers a bit awkward.
I mean, we've said before that these players have played with each other quite a bit, so they've maybe even played this matchup before. And so maybe Lukas is aware that Tabben likes his cuirassiers quite a lot in this matchup, and so the Manchu is going to help quite a bit against that. However, it doesn't look like Tabben's really making all that many, so...
Yeah, he's making dragoons now. It just seems like the 5 that he made there. He's not committing to them too hard. Yeah. But still, these are like 300 resources each, and there's 5 of them. And Manchu, so effective. Now pushing out to the side there, wants to secure the trading post. And then perhaps after that, with his next unit shipment or batch, he can sort of push out. But 2 falconets coming. And I am a little bit worried for France here.
Halbs in queue for Tabben as well.
Oh,
so
wow.
I guess the cuirassiers and the halbs are just going to be a little bit of a meat shield for his skirms and his dragoons and his falconets, just to sort of sit behind.
How often do you see halbs in competitive AoE3? This is quite exciting.
Yeah, not very often, but I mean, if you're going to train them against any civ, China's the civ that you probably train them against, just because they really like to go for that really heavy melee composition, and the halbs are not that bad against that composition, so...
Yeah, halbs are pretty good against other sort of melee infantry, right? They've got quite a high base attack compared to other things like Changdao.
Exactly, yeah. And the main thing here, though, is going to be like the extra range on those meteor hammers to like sort of allows them to get on the Falcons very easily, but with the Halbs there to sort of block them and do a little bit more damage than maybe the Skirms or Goons would, are going to make it a little bit harder for those Meteor Hammers to find a good angle on those Falconets.
Pushing in now, and I really like this Tabben coming in with Falconets, although, you know, with the Halbs a lot safer. I was worried that Manchu and Cavalry don't mix too well, and perhaps they would be able to take out the Falcons here, but Falconets knocking on the door, sieging the village, just trying to force a reaction from Lukas. Tabben saying, hey, come fight me in the open. I'm going to siege down your village here. Falconets coming forward, trying to get a volley. One cav coming forward, but it's going to be executed by the Skirms. Lots of cav coming now. Bring the Halbs forward. Halbs coming forward to deflect the cav there. And Goon's going to handle the cav really, really nicely. Big volley now about to come onto the Skirms. Does take one out. And the other! Well, before they even shoot!
Yeah, Meteor Hammers do so much damage to artillery. But he paid a heavy price for that. Well, the fight is going okay for him.
Cav combat just came in as the fight started. This is exceptional for Blue.
Yeah, it looks like he is actually cleaning up with the Halbs and the Cures in the front there, sort of dealing with the cavalry. And behind this, there's not a lot left for China, really. He's got a handful of skirmishers, and that's it. He might have another shipment on the way. Might be his saving grace, but at the moment, Tabben taking the better end of this fight.
Yeah, definitely looking like that, right? Looks like, though, we do see some more Meteor Hammers coming out, though. But, like what? And Changdao as well. 11 Changdao plus, is that the Forbidden Army? Coming forward, can the Changdao get on top of the Goons? No, they're going to kite back all day long, and it looks like he's gotten in combat with the Skirmishers. He's going to be able to take them down, but this is a heavy price. You're going to lose all your Changdao doing it. Yeah,
that's not the best trade for China for sure, and he's going to be forced to back on out of there. And France is going to be feeling pretty good at the end of that fight. Some more reinforcing skirmishers coming in to give him a little bit of an edge there, so he can just continue poking in here against sort of the weaker skirmisher mass of China. Yeah, so this is
intervention.
Redcoats popping out on top of the skirms, but I don't think it's going to be enough at this point. China just keeps sort of flooding these units in here, and the reinforcing batch of 3 cures coming in from the shipment there.
Yeah.
Going to be scaring Lukas away. But yeah, I think at this point, Lukas has to try and change up his composition a bit somehow. The Dragoons are sort of a big problem, and he can't really mass enough skirmishers to really deal with that. Like, he can't mass enough skirmishers to deal with Tabben's skirm mass at this point. Like, he's already used the shipment. Tabben still has 7 skirms potentially behind this. And, of course, when you train skirmishers as China, you have to train other units as well, so it's really hard to focus solely on that production. He's got a small advantage for the time being, though. And
yeah, he's looking okay at the
that
moment.
might be enough to buy him some time.
It's a very low blue skirmisher count, which means that, without skirms, you can't really poke in. The Goon's just there to sort of defend. So China are okay at the moment. And behind this, Tabben's been on berries for quite a long time, despite having steel traps, now moving some of the units off there. But the true is same for Lukas, I suppose, although he does have a village set up on the south side with Hunt and Mine. I don't know why I'm flaring, since you're not in the game to see my flares, but such is the way of things. 7 skirms coming for, and 5 more cuirassiers.
Can we take a look at Lucas's deck real quick? He's gathering a lot of gold. Does he maybe have iron troops on the way? No, he doesn't have iron troops in his deck. Really, he doesn't have any military shipments left, aside from 7 hand mortars, which of course are not going to be super effective in this game. So it's really just going to be like upgrades and 1,000 gold maybe that are going to sort of be coming next for China here. But yeah, for the time being, France has map control. Training a lot of Dragoons just because he's a little bit afraid maybe of still a big melee composition.
Repelling volley coming in.
Yeah, that's going to make them quite a bit better against the Dragoons. And with Tabben maybe not going so hard on the skirmisher production, he could be okay here, potentially, but Full of Swords can get picked off. And there's some cures being added in as well. Even more Halbs in queue, so he's Tabben's actually maybe overreacting to the possibility of like a lot of cavalry here.
Yeah, he's got a ton of goons already and Kirishés. Looks like the Changdao do come in, though. They're going to take down the Kirishés, pushing them back there. Dragoons on the front, though, taking damage from the skirmishers. Looks like the Kirishé line is now down, and the Changdao can move forward. They're going to force away the goons there, trying to kite, but they are in hand combat there. But the skirmishers going to force away all of that infantry. And ultimately seems like quite a good fight for blue. Changdao trying to repel off these 3 Kirishés, but Meteor Hammer's coming out, and that's going to be pretty good. There's not too many goons left, and they're being focused down, and with repelling volley, that's really strong. But 3 Kirishés still alive on the back. The Musketeers trying to handle it. But it looks like blue ultimately has more units in this fight. But more cavalry coming in, and there's no more anti-cav here, just the 2 gendarmes there to handle this. But still looks blue favored. A lot of blue units on the side, just not in the fight just yet. If he brings them in, he'll definitely be on top of this.
Yeah, it looks like he is going to clean that up pretty convincingly. And I don't think China has much left behind this. He's sort of running out of resources, even on the south side of the map there. He's got another batch of redcoats out, but in terms of food, he's really hurting. Going to lose a couple vills on the hunt on the top as well. And yeah, it's just looking like a really rough spot for him. It's just going to be a really slow victory for France, I guess. Moving forward here, just going to keep poking in with the skirmishers. Try to keep forcing China to keep taking those types of fights where it's just really awkward for him.
What do you think of the lack of sort of iron troops then? It seems like iron troops would be really strong against what France has, but he's not got them in his deck. How do you feel about that decision?
I don't really have iron troops in most of my decks either, to be honest. I think they're
a
little bit hard to afford sometimes. They would have been great in this game just because he had so much gold and everything, and was sort of forced off food, but I can't really fault him for not having them in his deck because they're kind of a little bit situational, it feels like, compared to the rest of the shipments. But yeah, definitely hurting him this time around.
Okay, so you're not a huge fan of the shipment generally, in favor of maps more solid cards that aren't quite so sort of situational. But economy's quite even, and remember, China has Summer Palace and export and a consulate behind this, and the military counts are getting back up to being even again. I suppose though Changdao as a 1 pop unit.
Yeah, I mean, economically China's doing okay. It's just I feel like Tabben has a much better position on the map. Like, Lukas is trying to do a little bit of raiding, but all the villagers are sort of on the northern side here. There's a lot more resources on the northern side as well, compared to the bottom of the map, where sort of Lukas is set up. But I guess Tabben's been using berries a lot as well, and I guess maybe it's not as bad for Lukas as we've been saying. He's sort of catching up in military, as you were mentioning, and
I mean, it wasn't a great fight, obviously.
Yeah, no. But, yeah, at this point, it's looking sort of even again. And,
yeah,
I don't know, I guess both players have been stuck on berries the whole time. I feel like Tabben could maybe be hunting more, I'll be honest. I can't actually see how many hunts are actually on the map.
Yeah, he seems to be quite reluctant to do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, Lukas has sort of been roaming a little bit through his line of sight with a handful of cavalry there, so maybe that's part of the reason why he's not doing that, but it feels like it's costing him quite a bit.
Okay, but he is starting to do in a stalematey game like this, adding in the trading post seems very strong. So now Tabben trying to get ahead, but if I'm being honest, I feel like Lukas just has better upgrades going into the long game with repelling volley, territorial army, and double-faced armor.
Yeah, those are definitely some really good upgrades with them all in now, and his army is actually looking really respectable now, and there's not a lot of gold left for Tabben, it looks like. It's sort of, he has to walk pretty far to get to that next mine, I think. Is there one in the middle? Again, I can't really tell with the quality there. Okay, so yeah, he's going to have to walk all the way to the south side of the map where he doesn't really have infrastructure set up. I mean, he can maybe switch these trading posts over to gold when he gets up, but it's going to be a little while before he can do that.
A lot of cuirassiers
So
here, though, with cav combat on them.
yeah, but are they going to be that effective against a lot of cav and swordsmen from um China? Like these, I feel like you might need more dragoons. I don't know. It's hard to say actually how this fight is going to go when they actually
When they
decide to
actually
take
go
it.
in. I really like the
Um,
Vils up here, though, with Blunderbuss and Greatcoat's research. Looks like he wants to gather food from hunts, which is ideal, and just having the villagers on standby if they need to step in and help the army. Tabben is just like this. His army's much safer at all times because he can throw in a bunch of high HP sponges. Is he coming for this coin mine? Is that what he wants? Yeah, it looks like it. And at the same time, no, they're just coming in for a fight there. Looks like he's going to get the cuirassiers stuck in, but there's a lot of Changdao there. Going to have to focus them down with his skirmishers. Some dragoons in the back. This is a good position for blue, but going to lose a lot of Changdao.
yeah, yeah, with the Chengdao getting in there, it's looking like it's actually going to go the way of China with their propelling volley being focusing down those skirms as well. Yeah, it's just slightly going in favor of China. Now the cure is going down, the dragoons being cleaned up. There's not going to be anything to deal with the meteor hammers and the iron flails left behind for China here. And it looks like Lukas is actually going to get back into the game, despite how much we were saying that he was behind. It's just that Tabben didn't manage to do enough with his advantage the whole game long, and he's paying for it now as these skirmishers get cleaned up, and the villagers on the top side of the map here are going to be very exposed at the end of this fight.
Oh, wow.
And he doesn't really have anything coming behind this.
I was kind of expecting Tabben to chuck all of the villagers that are gathering here into the fight, but I guess that's
but
not the
case.
The
whole army gets cleaned up,
wow.
And look at the military bar is completely green, and there's so many units left behind this, and all the Vil's going to be forced to run away, which is going to just buy even more time for Lukas to get back into this game, and the cavalry just going to chase them down, and as they get onto the villagers, that's probably going to be the GG for Tabben here. He's going to get onto the army with the cures, going to try to fight this maybe with the CDBs, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. I mean, he's got a lot of cures here. The swords are kind of out of position.
Yeah, but that monk taking too long to die. That monk's still alive before before they can get onto the Changdao there. Melee combat. Oh no, stagger mode. Right. I was gonna say that felt very, very wrong. But oh, there's a lot of cures still here. Where are the Changdao? Oh dear, this is big for.
Did he not have it?
I don't
think.
Did
he lose more than we thought? I guess.
Those are gonna get cleaned. But Tabben, he sees the cavalry coming in, and he knows that it's not enough. The cuirassiers will go down to the really long range cavalry, and the villagers are just all up here. But what a great series! Lukas gonna even it out. It is now anyone's game. The next match will determine the winner of this series, and the winner will have the pleasure of playing against either, I think, King of Osmane or Jiramuno, and then after that, Hazza. And that will determine who comes to the LAN. So, we expected this series to be close. Both these players, quite similar skill level, and both these players, people I think could make it to the LAN. They will have to go through Hazza to get there, but a really nice showing from Lukas there. For a while, it looked like he was behind, but came back out ahead on top. Should we take a look at the graphs here? France was ahead all game, but I feel like, being on the berry sort of slowed him down a lot. Let's take a look at military unit population. Yeah, and Tabben coming out ahead in this first fight. The second fight seemed kind of even, but a really big dip.
Yeah, it felt like Tabben just had like sort of a military lead the whole game though, and didn't
do much with it.
Yeah, he didn't really make good use of it, it felt like. He just sort of kept pushing on the top side, like Lukas was gathering on the south. Then back at home, Tabben was on berries the whole game. Didn't really try to make use of his military to sort of secure maybe some of the hunts, even on the bottom side for himself. Didn't set up walls down there to prevent those raids and stuff. And yeah, I mean, it just sort of cost him. Maybe he could have set up Stagecoach earlier as well. That might have helped him get advantage early on. With that military advantage, especially if he was posturing towards the top side of this map. But yeah, it just felt like he was sort of similar to the very first game against Sioux. He was just giving too much respect to Lukas and not really willing to push into the base while he actually had an advantage.
Hot damn. Hot damn. The next map will be Thar Desert. New England was vetoed, and this will be the final map. This is going to be a fast, bloody, aggressive finale to what has been actually a really, really interesting and clearly very close series. But at least Lukas... Well, actually, Tabben, he does get the advantage here. And Russia is going to be a civ that he can play on this map. In fact, a civ that he's very, very strong with. And Tabben has to pick first because... Pardon me, Lukas has to pick first just because he won the previous game. And now Tabben gets that advantage. So being 2-2, I think Tabben here, slight advantage over his opponent. And Tabben very strong with Russia. So I think he's very pleased about this. Although India is a thing, how good is Lukas with India?
Lukas India. I'm not sure actually. I've never really seen him play India all that much, I feel like.
Okay, well then that's probably good news for Tabben. At least here, like, if Lukas does pick a surprise India, Tabben will, that will be already something Tabben can see. So he's not going to be able to pick Russia into India blind. But that's not coming up. Doesn't look like India's a civ Lukas particularly is comfortable with or has played a lot. So going to go with Aztec here, which is also very strong, I think, on Thar Desert. With there not being any trading posts, they still have access to a considerable amount of XP with the XP dance. And now let's see what Lukas elects to, how Tabben elects to respond to this.
And Aztec, of course, are also very fast, which allows them to get a lot of presence on the map very early, which is very important on Thar Desert, just because you have to leave your base so early, so frequently on this map. So that early war hut going to help him sort of lock down the map, as well as those additional shipments that he'll be getting from the warrior priest. Allow him to get up that military mass very early and hold on to those resources. We'll see what Tabben responds with. I think Tabben would normally like to pick Russia here, but I don't know how comfortable he might be in the Russia-Aztec matchup, as Russia sort of has to concede map control at the start of the game against Aztec, just because Aztec is that little bit faster.
Yeah, well, he's not gone with Russia just yet. Maybe Tabben's considering that. He probably wants to play them just because it's a civ that he's strong with, but you don't want to click into a matchup you don't like. Tabben taking his time here.
Yeah. On the other hand, he could try sticking with France. I mean, France, they like to have trading posts, but they don't really need it. And at the same time, they're pretty solid against Aztec. As I was mentioning earlier in the stream, Aztec kind of struggle against sort of that bow husk composition.
Oh, baby.
Okay, Aztec mirror.
And I'm Aztec too.
I don't know if I've ever seen Tabben play Aztec.
Maybe he's been preparing something in secret. Okay, well, this sounds dicey then for Tabben if you've never seen him play before, but he's gonna go for it anyway. But Tabben's a good player. He's a smart guy. I'm sure he knows what he's doing. But I am interested to see the betting for this final game. The score is 2-2. This is a best of 5. This is game number 5. The winner of this series will stay in the tournament. The loser will be eliminated. Ladies and gentlemen, the final map will be Thar Desert. Get your bets ready. The betting will open very, very shortly. Everyone will be given 100 denarii. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, do follow us on Twitch, on Escape. I'm streaming there full-time now with a few others. And the YouTube streams won't be something that's overly common. But ladies and gentlemen, let's start with Lukas. Bring it back to 2-2 from a score of 2-1, playing as the Aztecs here. It's a 300 wood start. Going to slam down a fire pit right away. And with that other wood, I imagine a house and potentially a market. There is no trading post on this map. We'll have to see sort of what they do, but the market could slow you down. You still have to gather for hunting dogs. Maybe the treasures will alleviate that somewhat. 90 wood, the first Aztec war chief has just come across. And it looks like that the blue one, he's not scouted it, obviously, but he may not get there in time. I think he's gonna see it, but it's very nearly dead, that lion. Nope. This could be... No, this is certainly Green's treasure to take. But he's low on HP. Not going to go into combat, though. He's also taken a treasure by the looks of it. He got 85 wood. Lukas picking up 90. Very, very even. Both players getting a solid wood treasure here. But and a tiger and a lion is the only difference here. I think the lion is slightly stronger just because it has more HP, but the tiger has more attack. Fair enough. I guess that makes sense. Very, very even at the moment. Did the players... No market from either player. Oh, no. Actually, Tabben did go for a market. So there's the first deviation there. Hunting dogs are going to try and get that in for blue. Although he's not got any gold.
Looks
And
like he might have spotted a gold treasure on the bottom. No, wood treasure.
Perhaps he just wants the XP for the 3 villager shipment. And the market, you might find a gold treasure, so it's worth doing anyway, even if you haven't found a gold treasure yet, because you might. But Lukas finds a gold treasure, and now he's going to build a market, and he's going to get hunting dogs. Yeah, there it is. It's in.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense for Lukas because he did get that 55 gold. For Tabben, I feel like he probably already had the shipment when he built the market, but he's going to find 65 coin as well, so he's going to be getting that in just fine for himself. Yeah, this is going to delay both players' war huts a little bit, but definitely worth it to do so anyway, as it's not going to be by too much, and you are going to get that little bit of an economic boost early on. Yeah, so I'm not really sure what we're going to see in this game. I know that at least I've played against Lukas's Aztec before, and I know that he's a pretty well-rounded player with them. He can sort of go for some of the other builds that a lot of maybe non-Aztec players aren't really very comfortable with, like the fast fortress or fast industrial builds, which I've definitely seen work in this matchup before as well, so could potentially go for that, but most likely we're just going to see 2 war huts in the middle of the map, and yeah, there's the 3 villagers going to be coming out for Tabben. Lukas, aging up a little bit later, actually.
Yeah. It's not going to be too much later, simply because the messenger's just such a fast politician, but there is going to be a bit of a delay there. But 3 villagers racing across the map from Tabben, looking to place down a war hut very, very quickly. He's almost got all the wood. He needs 200. He needs 250. His villager's going to try and gather that last bit of wood, but as soon as that gets to 250, we'll see a war hut just go slam right here. Or right here, I suppose, slightly further back, actually. But now Lukas going to follow him up. If it's an in-base war hut, it's more or less going to be at the same time. Although he still needs 50 wood. He's not quite there yet either. 2 villagers coming forwards. I don't know if the Panther can... I don't think the Panther has enough line of sight to scout that. So he's going to place this on his hunt here. It's a very aggressive map. You need to secure resources. But Tabben's going to have his war hut up so much sooner, and therefore his shipments as well.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too big of a deal, but as a result of aging up a little bit later, Lukas did have to be a little bit more passive with that war hut placement. But if he secures this hunt, he should be okay for the next, 4 or 5 minutes. 700 wood going to come in for both players, just going to help them get down some more houses and stuff like that, potentially start training. Coyote runners is usually the thing people go for in this matchup. Can we take a look at the units in queue?
We certainly can.
All right, yeah, going to be coyotes for both players. And this sort of allows you just to be more active on the map, get some more scouting done, as well as just being a pretty solid unit in general in this matchup, just because Aztec do have a little bit of a weakness to cavalry, and Puma Spearmen, although really good against cavalry, they actually do less damage to light infantry, like coyote runners, than they do against hand cavalry, like hussars and stuff like that. They have a little bit less of a multiplier. And the Mace Holton, of course, you just mix in a few Mace Holton, you can pick off the Puma really easily, so having a lot of coyote runners is typically the way to go in this matchup most of the time. But there's a 6 Puma shipment coming out for Tabben. I wonder if this means he could be gearing up for some kind of early push, maybe on his next shipment. Whereas Lukas looks like it's going to go a little bit greedier with the 5 villagers. So this is a little bit of a potentially scary deviation from Tabben. He's going to be waiting for another military shipment. It looks like he's just sent it. Probably going to be the 10 Mace Sultans, and that's going to be his time to push. And Maybe those few extra units might be enough to allow him to break this war hut, but it's gonna be close. If he fails to break the war hut, then Lukas is just gonna be in a better position with the extra villagers, although he won't quite have map control, so...
Yeah, I think Lucas counting on 5 vills to pull him ahead in this game and get him an eco lead, but it could be very scary when Tabben pushes in, and he's now coming. 6 Puma, a lot of coyotes there, and I'm sure we're about to see the Mace Halton shipment arrive at the forward base. They're now coming in. 5 coyote runners. Okay, it's a military shipment. It's the same. 3 coyotes coming out. Can he pull them to safety? No, going to rush in there straight away, take this fight. And with the Puma mixed in, this is solid.
He's got his own shipment on the way behind this, right? I think maybe he's wanting to fight before that's coming. He doesn't want the Puma to siege down the war hut very quickly either, but this is looking like pretty even fight at the moment.
Yeah. This is tense.
But I think
there are more blue coyotes there, and the Mace Halton not going to stand up too well against coyote runners. And looks like Tabben a very convincing lead in that first fight. 5 villagers not helping him enough, or not paying off yet. And the military lead for Tabben is really, really strong here. And looks like we've got 3 Jaguar Prowlers in stealth mode. They're really, really good against coyotes if they can get up close and surprise them.
Although one thing about stealth mode on this map is if you have footprints enabled, you can actually see that they're there, so...
Well, that makes sense. Oh my goodness, footprints is something you should have on always. It's a feature.
Yeah. But yeah, it looks like Tabben gonna be taking another fight here, gonna be picking off these units. So he's gonna be in a pretty commanding position after doing so. This build that Lukas went for, normally you can afford to do it because with the town center fire, you can sort of hold on, but with the war hut being placed so far away to secure that hunt, the town center not able to provide any of that additional safety against this kind of timing really enabled Tabben to get a really big lead early on, and even 9 Mace Haltons coming behind this, so just looking to clean up this war hut, deny this hunt, and then close out the game.
Yeah, and this makes absolute sense when you're so far ahead on military. Just keep the pressure up and stop them from ever being able to gather any food. You know, you'd say this is a very all-in, but it feels perfectly acceptable on the Thar Desert here.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, that war hut is going to go down. Lukas going to be struggling for resources. Has he rebuilt the war hut at all back home? Yeah, he's rebuilding it now, but I think Tabben is aware that he's got a really big advantage and that war hut takes a long time to build, so he's got time to really push right underneath the base here, and he's going to spot the war hut going up as well. Probably not going to be able to deny it, but he'll be able to take that out pretty quickly, as well as pick up a couple of villagers here, so I think Tabben looking like he's going to be picking up the series and moving on to the next round.
Yeah,
as this war hut goes down, I don't think there's much that Lukas can really do to defend it.
He needs a miracle to happen for Tabben to try and chat or something and press the delete key, which did happen in a tournament once, but only once, and I think we're quite unlikely to see it again. But 5 villagers coming out now behind this for Tabben, just going to secure his lead. And 5 coyotes and 5 and the 6 Puma shipment coming in, but it's not enough. There's just so many blue things here. And that is going to be the end of the war hut. And I think Lukas here, GG, Gratz, going to be Tabben out. Congratulations, Tabben picks up the 3rd and final victory. Congratulations.
Yeah, well played from him.
We won't be having an interview, though. He's not qualified just yet. He's still got a way to go, so to speak. Let's take a look, though, at the graphs here. I mean, you see villager population. He does go up, and he's ahead, but it's just, you know, against the military there, and having to have the war hut so far away, as you mentioned. Oh, pardon me. Let's take a look at the military unit graph. Wins the fight, and just because he has more units, and then just keeps shipping them, keeps it up, keeps on top of it. Really, really nice from him there.
Yeah, and Tabben played pretty solidly the whole series. Even in the games that he lost, he had like pretty convincing advantages at times. And overall, it felt like he just outperformed Lukas in the series. And yeah, so definitely deserves to be moving on to the next round.
Yeah, congratulations to